do what's for lunch, and we'll fire you guys to the midday because it's already 11 o'clock.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep you guys updated. I'm really not seeing anything obvious in terms of that drop, and I'm only seeing that one account, which again, as I said, posts older quotes, talk about the Amazon and Apple tariff refunds and how he doesn't think they should get them. So I'm gonna guess this is an older quote because I'm not seeing this circulate. If I get anything new here, I will keep you guys posted. But yeah, market here near low of days on, as far as I can tell, nothing salient from news. I'm not even seeing any minor headlines here. Back to you.
No, I mean, salient's not a word that gets said every single day. So from now on, every single time, I'm just gonna do it. We had the key, I'm gonna hit it. If you say a school word that was a new one for the week, then it's gonna get, salient is not an everyday word. It does not get said on Trader TV Live very often. I know I probably would never say it, because I'm not smart like that. Sean's not gonna say it. Sharif, I'll give Sharif a maybe, his vocabulary is through the roof. Joe ain't saying that, so it's all good. Sia, she's in school. She might say some school words too. Although graduated now, so hopefully you'll be on our side of things. I'm gonna let you guys know what's for lunch. Well, what flag is it? I don't know what flag that is. But if I can't show you guys the flag without showing you guys everything. Oh, you know what? Oh, I can tell. I just read what it is. So it's gonna be a Thai flag. We got Thai basil red curry chicken, steamed jasmine rice, and wok fried seasonal vegetables. So obviously it's a Thai flag. Thai basil red curry chicken. That sounds delicious to me. I'll let you guys know how it is. Hopefully the market doesn't continue to fall all over itself for everybody's sake. And if anybody happens to have taken the short at VWAP on CAR, then all I have to say is Godspeed. I wish you the best of luck. It is a trend break. It is under VWAP. Normally that's a setup for me and I would be short, but I'm not. Because Randy talked me out of it. And it's been running people over every single time they try. But good luck to everybody. We'll see you back at 2. I'll see you at 12 o'clock for the lesson today and back at 2 o'clock as well. And shout out to everyone in the morning for all the super chats. It was incredibly kind. We'll forward to the midday. We got Joe. And wait a minute. I didn't even realize the position board had switched because I'm also short BlackBerry at $5.40. Oh, that's my position. I was gonna say, I'm like that. I'm short BlackBerry at 540. Okay, that's incorrect. We'll go to the midday, guys. We'll get it fixed. I thought you just had the same position.
That's crazy. I was like, did I punch in by accident or something?
Yeah, man. I told you about that, man.
Don't even get me started, bro. He came off the bench.
I know,
man.
but brother.
He came off the bench. We're losing, and he comes up. Boom! Greetings and salutations, beautiful people. Welcome to the midday show. I don't know what that is, but that's your boy Joey Options right there. And I'm Sharif. Arsenal. Come on, man. Come on, man. Ronaldo, Doggo, Rivian. We got Jomster, Cubismo, Hinsey, Zen Zombie, A Proper Dang Paradox, Jal Press, Martin, Zen Zombie, Outlaw Trader, Gaming TV, Bailey frickin' Buttons. We got Daily Day Trades, Randy Worms. Shout out to Big Perm and Randy Worms. Susan Flower, I know, right? And then we got Crypto, FOMO. We got Migrag, Indy. Shout out to Dino Vanseri, Susan frickin' Flower. Who else, man? Dom, you're the GOAT, Dom. Shout out to my man. We got, who else? Slow Motion. A New Lifers Sale, Escape Planet. Game Craft Nico sold the low. I don't know about that. Bailey Buttons again. Samir, Green Saber, Pizza Gang, baby. We got Dean Allen and Gus. How about Trust Fund Baby? I'd like to be a Trust Fund Baby, Joey.
I think a lot of us.
I wouldn't mind being a Trust Fund Baby like your buddy Trudeau there. How's he doing? Have you been keeping up with him?
Have you been keeping up
with him? Is he okay?
Yeah, you see
How's
him over
Katy Perry?
You see him over there at Coachella?
I heard Katy Perry's getting in trouble, Joey.
Yeah,
might have. You saw that?
Yeah.
Katy Perry. She might be in some trouble.
It doesn't even matter because they're over at Coachella living their best life.
They're living their best life.
Dump the economy.
Dump the. Did you see that red plastic cup Why is he drinking out of a one-off plastic
plastic
and
cup.
he bans it for the rest of the country?
Why is he going on road trips?
Well, he's allowed to go
He's
on
going on road trips. I thought we weren't allowed to go on
But
road
it's
trips.
like, you know.
Anyways.
We're kidding, guys.
I'm not. Anyways, aside from that, guys, yeah, I know exactly. I agree with you, Scott Tomlinson, my boy, a lot of us in the chat, man. I got my stream deck back. We'll hit the money. Oh, that's the Sean one. I wanted to hit this one. We were trading some Bitcoin, but there's a whole lot of red. Adair knows what I'm talking about here in the market. I mean, there goes shout out to Cardi. And I mean, there's the Qs, there's Tesla, there's Advance. What happened? What'd they say? Yeah, the chat's funny. NVDA. So I mean, at some point we might get a form of a turnaround. Gaurav, I think this is going to be our day to shine. If we can find somebody or find something around the lows with some indecision prints, that's exactly what we're going to look for. But we had that nice strong breakout in IBIT. Unfortunately, we got no continuation and stopped out 20% of the remaining of our position. This was the runner we had a nice little bid on, but IBIT was treating us very well today, and hopefully it does for the remainder of the session. Nonetheless, I do think at some point we will find a rebound. I don't know if it's going to be an all-day fader, but it could be, right? And we have to be prepared just in case it is. Get out when we're supposed to, and then maybe if we are trying to catch a falling knife at this moment, so give the market some time to turn around. I use my speedboat and my cruise ship analogy. Sometimes when the momentum is really, really high to the downside, it takes a little bit of time for things to turn around. Now, before we send it over to Sharif, we're going to go over a couple of things. We're going to take a look at the IBIT options chain. I was going to say blockchain, but anyways, there it is. One day, yeah, exactly. So there it is, guys. We do have some size over at that 46. Hopefully we can climb to that level. That would put us north of that $80,000 mark on spot Bitcoin itself.
All right. All right, guys, let's get right down to work. Here's what I'm looking at. Here's the 8 that I am viewing on the day. So RPGL is the #1 name on the day, but I got to tell you, it looks like the best trade is behind it. Thank you, guys. Yeah, there you go. So this one's losing VWAP. It's losing some technical levels, so it might lose its spot on the side chart momentarily. Also, the volume's dropping off. I don't like the look of this. This looks like it's headed back to 50 pennies. We'll see. But RPGL in focus for now. Underline that, for now. But we have three really good ones. VELO into the high of the freaking day. It's taking out 15.5, 15.55 at the high. It's up 33%. FFAI, shout out to Faraday Futures. Wait until Randy comes back and sees this thing's at 33 pennies. Check that, 36. Into the high of the day it goes. It's up 26 and change, 36.80. I'm talking pennies, not dollars. That is the high right now. Let's see if it can hold up above some key technical levels. So FFAI in focus, CRCD up, I want to say 11 and change, but this looks like a really good breakout. So this thing closed out at about like 492 or whatever. Yesterday, 553 high. We're still below that afternoon high yesterday into 563. So I do anticipate us, #1, having trouble clearing this $0.50 as we can see right now. It's already having trouble clearing it. #2, if we do clear the $0.50, what's going to happen at that $0.00 area, which was yesterday's high? So I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. That's CRCD. NVTS, also not a bad look here, up 18.5%. It looks like we got into about 1661. The majority of the closing prints, if not all, close at or below 16 1/3. Here is 1550, not just the $0.50 level here in terms of support, but also the volume weighted average price. And in fact, this current 5-minute candle has a bit of a hammer look to it. Alas, it still has a lower low and a lower high relative to the prior candle. So the downtrend still very much intact at the moment on NVTS. LOCL, look, I mean, it's up like 46%. But what the hell, what am I supposed to do with this thing? You know what I mean? Like, it shows up on your scanner, and then you pull up the chart, and it looks like this. So if you're set on trading this, to me, it's obviously a buy at 260. You've gotten two very key areas of support right there at that level. With a 257 low, and then you're selling in and around 3 to 310. This is a range until it proves otherwise, and you're going to have to, if you're insisting on trading it, it has to be traded as a range until it shows you that it does not have that as it's kind of set up at the moment. And then FCEL, we're just going to go to this one super quick. This is obviously not a small cap gapper. Let's see what BE is doing. Is FCEL running in sympathy with BE? Oh my days, BE is up another 6% and more all-time highs for BE. This pleases me greatly. Obviously a name I'm invested in, up 6% on the day. FCEL running in sympathy up, I want to say, Assassino up 11.8%. We're going to pause for a second. Adira has news at the big desk.
You guys posted here with regards to some drops in some of these weight loss drug names, Eli Lilly and NVO, both to the downside pretty much all day. Looks like this drop, which again, I'm just seeing this kind of commentary and report now, this drop might be related to CVS saying earlier today they're going to be opting out of the Medicare obesity drug coverage mode. So again, just kind of getting the reason for this drop now, but it does look like LLY and NVO both sharply to the downside after CVS reportedly saying, hey, we're going to be opting out of Medicare obesity drug coverage mode. Reason for that drop here earlier today for LLY and NVO. Furthermore, Kevin Warsh talking right now. Again, nothing super exciting. He did say, though, that's pretty interesting. He does not believe in forward guidance. It's unclear to what extent that'll actually carry over, but we're getting a little bit of a sense of kind of how he would run the Fed should he be confirmed. Back to you.
All right, continuing on here, Open Door having itself a decent day. You're not going to really see me on Open Door all that much, but when it presents itself, I'm looking at this one. If we can show the chart. Give it a second. Thank you so much. 9 1/3%. This one finding a lot of support at 575. And what I do like about this one, Joey, is that it shows you that initial 5 3/4 was a little bit of resistance. We did hold up there for about 10 minutes until we cleared it on the 10:05 candle. But look, you know, finds support right at VWAP with the closing prints all around 575. So Open Door in focus as well. Definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. So there's a lot to choose from today, guys. Velo into the high of the day again, blowing through 1607 high. FFAI into about 37 pennies. What's it called? NVTS finding support here at VWAP. So I was talking crap about this one. I'm like, oh, it needs to breach prior bar high. Well, it did after I was done my analysis. So 1581. Let's see if this one can work up or whether it's going to suffer from that kind of downtrend. And then CRCD coming possibly into the 10 EMA on the 5 at around 535, 530. That could certainly be a buy area. Alas, I did not load up my risk calculator. That was what I forgot to load up. So I got to load up that bad boy, Joey. So here we go. We're going to have the risk calculator for you guys pretty soon. It's been working great, man. I can't really complain about it. The only thing is sometimes, you know, these small cap gappers, they just move so quick that I'm unable to kind of put the calculations in time and whatever else. But this is looking pretty good here, Joey. So happy about that. Let's set this up on the top screen. And yeah, what are you looking at? Who's that? Is that Zendaya? Yeah. Oh, you're looking at Zendaya again, huh? Huh. Who? Joe, you're muted, brother. You are, man. You were in there doing things. You had to mute it because we don't want to hear that. Yeah.
Brother. Anyways, aside.
You don't even want to know what he was doing.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, guys, aside from that, we're getting a nice little rebound in the market. I mean, IBIT starting to find a rebound, guys. And then you're getting a bounce. But the one thing is that we have to be cautious just in case we get a curl over here. We haven't quite made it back towards the volume-weighted average price. And sure enough, there it is on the SPY 5-minute time frame. Heading over there, and the same thing just below. So volume starting to stair-step down, and we can see it start to accelerate to the top side as we start to climb a little bit higher. IBIT doing the exact same thing. So we're not getting the turnaround signals that I thought we would. That's totally okay because we were prepared to take advantage of them to the full effect. What is going on here? I'm going to lose my
no. You don't want to.
Oh my God. Anyways, aside from that, guys. I'm going to be sitting on my hands. We had that nice IBIT trade initially off of the volume weighted average price break. Now we have the indecision prints off those lows, rejecting this intraday support system, acting as resistance. And I think at this point, I don't know if we're going to breach the volume weighted average price and hold it. So what we're going to look for here is an established or a failed new high of the day right around this neck of the woods. You see some indecision prints, and then maybe we can take the market for somewhat of a curl over. Let me move this so I can get things a little bit more in order. And then sure enough, what we have is something that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I thought we would get towards the high of the day or the pre-market high in IBIT. That wasn't the case. And then sure enough, look at the momentum. Even though we did get stepped, we got stopped out of 20%. This one we take the full stop out. We re-engage on the second attempt, and it really works for us. So essentially what we have is a failed high, and then lower we go, and the momentum and the volume picks up. Now, Joe doing double shift. What's up? I appreciate you guys. Everybody's saying, where's Sean? Sean wouldn't be on the show anyways, Eunice. Sean is on vacation. Give the man a little bit of a break, all right? He's in here every day. He wants to go and chill out on the beach. It's typically cold here, so he wants a breather. He can't be working 365, all right? He'll be back. Don't worry. Don't worry. Aside from that, let's head over to our watch list as we typically do, guys, and go through the larger names. NVDA at the top of the list. We have Apple not doing too much, selling off today, Sharif, heading back towards that announcement print low, up $267. Microsoft was definitely the stronger of the Mag 7 on today's session. Not necessarily the case right now. And Amazon, who we thought was going to reach an all-time high today, has not. Headline. Centum, U.S. has directed 28 vessels to turn around or return to Iran. So the blockade in full effect.
All right, brother. A couple of positions, CRCD, NVTS. So let's see how these ones do. CRCD is a hold at the 10 EMA. That's my approach here. On this one, what are we in? We're in at 35, so break even at the moment. Looking for this one to hold up at around the 10 EMA on the 5. I've given it to 24s because I see support all the way up into the $0.25. So 10 EMA gets me in. I give it all the way to the $0.25. We'll wait and see exactly what happens there. NVTS, looking for this one to kind of break trend, pop off VWAP. Let's see if it can work back into 16. We're in at 84s. What's it showing me right now in terms of price? We're in at 82. So we're out of the money by 2 pennies. So that's what I'm looking at. I also want to execute on Faraday futures, FFAI. It's just not really giving me an opportunity. It's holding prior bar low. So you can kind of get in willy-nilly at an area, maybe the midpoint of the prior candle, whatever, and then give it to prior candle low. It's not my favorite entry, but if it doesn't present me with others, I may end up getting into that because it looks quite directional here. Up 28.5%. Not much else, to be quite honest with you. Just looking at the scanner, seeing if there's anything popping new. VELO, obviously a little bit more expensive of a name. Having trouble with 16 and down now into 15 and 2/3. 1607 high. It's showing a bunch of topping tail candles here. In fact, if this candle drops down a little bit more, it's going to be 3 topping tail candles in a row on Velo. So let's see which way this cookie crumbles. I'm a buyer of Velo right around 15.25. 15.25 pleases me. Reason is, it's double top, initial area of resistance. It also would likely be around the 10 EMA on the 5 should the price action make it down there, a little bit slower. So VELO in focus as well, but not much else. What are you guys looking at here, man? Did anybody tag me with anything? Lobo, says Niraj. Let's take a look at LOBO. Bring up the single chart over here. You know what I should do? I should just add this single chart to the tabs because I always end up removing this one, then bringing this one in. It doesn't make sense, right? LOBO. So, brother, what am I supposed to do with this? You're looking. I guess you're thinking double bottom at 65. I'm assuming, Niraj, that's what your move is, right? Big boy move in the pre, right around 8 a.m. The entire move gets faded. In fact, it held yesterday's closing print at 57 pennies. Quite well, but really hasn't done much since that time. Looks like there is support generally at 65 with resistance at 75. I don't know, Niraj. Not my favorite, to be quite honest with you, but we'll give this one a look a little bit later on. NVTS popping up here, breaching prior bar high. Okay, so let's load up NVTS. 1R for me is 1606. We go ahead and we put the majority at 1606. I'm going to put it at 5s. That's my thing. and we look for 1R on this, and then we hold pieces for dreams, assuming of course it's able to clear 16, Joey. That pesky whole dollar level ends up sometimes being that annoying area of resistance. Into 95 it goes. We're in at 84, 97. Good, here we go. 98 showing up now. Looking for a little bit more here. How come I took out so much? Jeez Louise. All right, I didn't mean to. I fat fingered that mistake. That was a mistake. Looking for 98s there. Good continuation. Looking for moves into 1606. Let's go ahead and post at 1606 again. So that's what I'm looking at, Joey. FFAI is all sorts of strong. It's taken out levels, and I'm about to get stopped out of CRCD. One trade doing well, the other trade not doing so well. 524 prints, Joey, and I'm out of CRCD. Why do I trade stocks on the Amex? Why?
You already don't like them.
No, I don't. They're automatically under suspicion just by virtue of trading on that exchange.
Man.
Look at this guy. This guy's flexing.
Nah.
Yo, you should have seen the videos I put on the gram. Put four workout videos on the gram.
Let me see one of them right now.
Yeah, they got.
All right, man. Well, then why would you say I should have seen them?
Well, we're gonna put them on the show. That's
all right,
why.
You're gonna put them on the show. I don't get an early look, bro.
You can't. Of course, you get an early look. You just gotta get the gram.
All right. All right, man. We're having we got it.
Boom. Oh my
God. Yeah, man, we'll hit that one there. I think it's the favorite sound. All right, guys, man, we're having a good one. Monstrous move. The Shreve's dancing. I got some Brent going on in the ear, so we're looking for some good moves. Gorov saying that he's long. Are you connected? I'm not connected right now. It's kind of
I am connected, but
no, I mean this.
Oh yeah. I'm fine, brother.
So I can't even really pull anything up. I was looking at TSLL. Yeah, nice Gorov if that one's worked. I mean, with that momentum, you have that slingshot reaction. This would have been an ideal print to get it long off of. I don't know how genuine it is with this wick, so we'll keep an eye out on it, but a nice rebound. Instant, so gives back the majority, like right away. So you have that elastic, boom, snaps, and then sure enough, you break down, but then you rebound right back in towards the volume-weighted average price. And that's why I have my eyes on the Qs. I think we're gonna continue to climb a little bit higher. Love it when the platform, not referring to PA, but when this is working like just phenomenally. So we can pull up a bunch of charts here, being highly sarcastic. As you can see, it's still loading all the charts for some reason. I have no idea why. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for me to run an analysis, but there was a rebound across the board. Netflix not really participating, now down to $93. We were talking about this name a couple of days ago, up at 107 just before the earnings report. All right, tomorrow after the bell we have Tesla, and then on Thursday after the bell we have Intel. So we're going to see that that orderly price action start to step back into the market. I'm looking forward to trading both names post earnings, and I think they're going to be some good times. I love earnings season. It's when I trade my best, to be honest with you, just because I think there's more decisiveness within PA in the bulk of earnings season, and then essentially on the outskirts of it. In between everything, not so much, right? Like a couple of weeks after earnings is when I really start to get chopped up, but earnings season is definitely what I like.
And the data supports that? Oh, amazing. We have a super chat. Thank you very much.
I didn't recognize I'm like, whose voice was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have a new production team member, but we're not going to introduce them quite yet. Soon.
Yeah.
All right, let's do, okay, so we're going to do that one first on the Rail TV. Where do we buy Netflix at? Keeps dropping. You're not going to see me buying Netflix, so I'm going to have to give that one to Joey. Just let me cover the other two. And then Zen Zombie, I have a $21 VIX call. Shout out to Zen Zombie. Thank you for the $2 super chat. And then Kahlua, $5. And here goes NVTS into the area high. We're going to wet the beak. Here's a few schmeckles. Banged $500 days. The last $500 days, the last 5 days in a row, plus another, or an extra, I should say, 1,100 with 500 for today. Without Adara, I would be lost. Adara, you're getting love here in the chat from Kahlua. $5 super chat. Shout out to Kahlua. Thank you very much for that. And thank you very much for the other two super chats as well. Do you want to cover the calls? Because I kind of passed Netflix
pun intended
on to you.
there.
Yeah, because I'm not going to cover Netflix.
Well, you said cover.
I have nothing positive to say.
You say cover the. Brother, literally last week you're like, I like it now.
Look what it did after that, though. It rejected that 100.
You don't like it again?
My disdain or like for the name rests entirely on the PA.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, man. I'm in the same boat. All right, guys. Joe say I love you, Mickey. Please, for sure, Mickey, I love you.
Keep it down, Ram.
Was that you, Ramin? Yeah. Tell me more. Oh, Trader TV Live saying, tell me more. All right, Sharif, what am I doing here? Can we pull up some options activity? If we can get them back up on the screen, that'd be absolutely fantastic.
No, don't do it for me.
Were we talking Netflix options chain or no?
Practice?
All right. I mean, all right.
TDIC breakout to the high side. TDIC.
Okay, so aside from that, like I've seen a couple options talk here. Where do we buy Netflix at? Keeps dropping. Let it keep dropping. I mean, that's not something that you just go in and it's a single entry, right? Like you want to slowly grab some. I think at some point it will rebound just due to the fact that it's a strong name and the second largest streaming giant on the planet. Now, aside from that, we had VIX call options at 21. Let's pull up the VIX. I always say that it's typically a little bit easier to to buy the puts opposed to anticipating the increase in implied volatility.
Okay.
I think there's a major difference, right? Because it always reverts to the mean. But if you're buying those 21s, right now it's not really working out for you unless you've been in earlier and then you buy those out of the money and they've appreciated from that standpoint. But going the put route, purchasing the put is significantly a better strategy in my opinion. Why? Because look at this. You climb up to 60, oh bang, you go all the way back down 73% to where you typically trade at in the teens. Same thing here. You go to 29 back in. So what it is, instead of anticipating the breakout in implied volatility or the market essentially moving lower, you just wait for that fear to step into the market and then play it back into where everyone's not as fearful. We were talking about the SPY at an implied volatility of 9%, and then within one trading session it essentially doubles. Did you know that was going to happen? No, but what you can have is now it's peaked, and then sure enough you can play the put to the downside. So I'm not looking at anything right now. I thought that we would get a little bit more of a continuation to the down or to the upside here. We're starting to get that pullback. I was looking for indecision prints off the lows. I wasn't fortunate enough to participate in that rebound in that elastic effect. So with that being said, I'm going to sit on my hands. We have that one good IBIT trade. Now we're going to be a sniper the rest of the day.
I like it, man.
Why do you keep asking me how my app is working? I don't have an app.
Oh, I think he probably means your algo, right?
Okay, yeah.
You were talking a lot about your algo.
Yeah, okay.
I'm assuming. You're going to double check
so.
with them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a...
There goes CRCD into the high side. We're taking some prints. 1R for me here is at 46. It's showing 42. I'm looking for a bigger move in around the $0.50. Stopped out of NVTS. NVTS could be a short below 15.50. Neil, how much would NVTS shorts cost me on the NQ? Thank you, Neil. Appreciate that. So looking for the move here on CRCD. Definitely looking short on NVTS below the $0.50. That's VWAP, also the $0.50. So interested in that. But I'm looking for CRCD to move back into that around that $0.50. I'm looking at wetting the beak 1 penny before my 1R at 45. You know, we'll see how this cookie crumbles over here, but definitely continuing to watch. This one right away is on probation until otherwise stated, just by virtue of the exchange off which it trades. I've seen too much with the AMX in terms of bamboozlement. There's 43. Now we're on the way to 44. CRCD could be on its horse here. Let's look for continuation to see if this one can print into 44. I'll wet the beak super quick, selling at 43 and more shares coming in there on the gateways. So no continuation quite yet. I'm also keeping a close eye on TDIC. This one plummeted. I don't know what this one's deal is and why it was moving so erratically, but the fact of the matter is it's recovering, and as such, it has my attention. In addition to that, the recovery that is, it's also approaching the dollar area from which it really, quite frankly, failed quite quickly. This is what we call a Christmas tree retracement, green on one side, red on the other, in the shape of a triangle, hence the Christmas tree reference. But in any event, an approach here of the volume weighted average price at 1120. And so what I'm looking for here is a break above prior bar high. Prior bar high is 104. So I'm looking for a 105 print. I think that probably maneuvers us into this trade. So into CRCD, but definitely looking at TDIC as well, Joey.
All right, good stuff, man. Just get a nice little stretch in here. Netflix continuing to sell off, as a lot of people were mentioning that in the chat. 93.13s. You open up around 94.69s, and you have the SPY heading towards. Say it ain't so. So yeah, I mean, SPY heading toward the low of the day.
What the helly?
Not the same narrative here for the Qs. So, I mean, if we do break a new low, I'm going to be looking for some forms of indecision on the lower time frame, like the 1 minute, to see if we're going to find a bounce. I was thinking for a potential long continuation here on IBIT, but this indecision print on this secondary, on this minor trend essentially is starting to hold up, but it looked like it was going to about to break there momentarily. All right, let's send things off to Adara, see what she has.
What I have is a crypto segment for you guys. So here is
Thanks,
BTC. Right now, I mean, this daily chart, higher highs, higher lows, nice push to the upside. Right now, resistance that we're going to have will be that Friday high of 78,400, currently trading around 75.7. So we have some ways to go. I do want to talk about Kevin Warsh, though, because his confirmation hearing is going on right now, and he does have a little bit of a crypto connection. Apparently, his investment portfolio does include some crypto and AI projects. He also has been describing in the past Bitcoin as a potential policeman, quote unquote, for central bank policy. He also said that Bitcoin could be a new gold, and he's even said in the past that he thinks that the U.S. central bank should be able to be getting involved here, maybe issuing even its own cryptocurrency or stablecoin using the blockchain. So he's very much pro-crypto. We do have two pro-crypto senators very much active in the crypto space that are on the Senate Banking Committee that is taking part in his confirmation hearing. Those are Senator Loomis, who will be outgoing as of the end of this term, and then also Senator Moreno. Neither of them have talked yet, so we could suspect, or it's not suspect, expect some crypto-related questions from either or both of these senators later on in this hearing. Back to you.
Thank you very much for that,
Thank you. I had so let me touch on this before we send it back to you, Sharif. USO skyrocket. This thing's gone off, and the market's somewhat rebounding. So as long as we have this correlation between the two, USO is definitely the long. I mean, as long as this is in play, I'll tell you one thing for free, is that essentially that when we have USO doing these types of things, I don't like trading the NASDAQ or NASDAQ names, to be honest with you. So that's why I'm being extremely patient. We had that one attempt. Now we have USO climbing right back towards the high of $125. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it at all.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Timothy, definitely looking at Velo. This is beautiful. If it holds up at the 10, that is. 1550, thereabouts, is the 10 moving average, exponential. And that's what I meant initially in my earlier analysis of VELO. I'm interested in this level. It's holding above prior bar low. That's good news, right? Especially because, well, prior bar low did breach the 1550 level momentarily, got bought up, closed at 1560 something. This one is showing mid 50s here, but VELO is definitely in my purview, and there goes Faraday frickin' futures into 40 pennies. 40 and a half pennies is the high of the day. This one is breaking out, and it really hasn't given me an opportunity in terms of a pullback off which to get in. But, you know, you don't need a pullback, and this is kind of where I struggle. I don't like getting in willy-nilly at these areas. There is a strategy you can employ. You can give it to prior bar low, and in this specific instance, no breach of prior bar low since the candle at 11 o'clock. It's now 11:32, so half an hour of good continuation here. Alas, this is an ugly topping tail candle into 40 and a half pennies, and now it is showing 38. But as I really want to mention, and I'm going to keep mentioning it because I think it is an important feature of small caps that's not, you know, directly relatable to large cap or mid cap trades. When you see a candle like this on small caps, it is not the end of the matter. It's like Joey loves to get in off these bottoming tail, topping tail candles because he trades mostly these large caps, and more accurate he could not be. Typically, they are good reversal signals. In the small cap world, it's not exactly that simple, because the majority of the people that are participating in this name today are not holding it for a swing or an investment. Most of the people that are, most of the volume, I should say, forget about the people, most of the volume that's coming in on the day is intraday. They're taking profits into area highs, and when they take profits into these area highs, they manifest on the 5-minute chart as topping tail candles. And so there you can see this one's getting bought up, and in fact, it's not even breaching prior bar low, at least not yet. Volatility kicking in, though, on Faraday futures, something to be on the lookout there. So I definitely want to set up somewhere on fair day. I wouldn't mind a bit of a better setup. I'm keeping a close eye here on CRCD to hold up above my entry. If it breaches my entry, I'm out. I'm keeping an eye here on NVTS for a possible short below the volume weighted average price at around 1550. And I'm certainly keeping an eye on VELO. What is happening, Sia? What am my line of sight? Get it, girl. I was wondering. I thought you were dancing or something. Her back is, yeah, okay.
You need to correct.
All right, I respect that. I've had back injury here and there. But in any event, VELO, definitely looking for this one to hold above 1550. I wouldn't necessarily insist on a breach of prior bar high on VELO because you could just give it to prior bar low. Now that it's around the $0.50 and it's already shown its propensity to hold up above the 10 EMA. Specifically, I'm talking about the 1055 and 11 a.m. candles. So those are the ones that I'm looking at. Those are the ones that I'm interested in. It's really those 4, 3 longs and 1 short, Joey.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. Controversial for sure. Is that the guy, Clue, who was just like losing and stuff? He's like day 5 of teaching myself how to day trade, and he's like,
who's that?
Some streamer kid, man. I told you. Anyways,
bro, man, I stumbled on these streamers from Kick that I didn't even know existed. I bet you don't even know who they are. No. Do you know this guy named Androgenic?
No.
Do you know this other guy named Clavicular?
Flav, yeah.
What is happening here, man? These guys, they live in a different world.
They live in a different world, yeah.
In a different world, these streamers, man. Like they get jumped by frat boys and frat leaders.
I don't really like Flav.
What's happening?
I just like Speed and Togi. Togi, I think, is one of the funnier guys because he's like, he knows, like, he's like, yeah, I'm not that smart, but like he just does hella funny stuff. And just the way he talks, yeah, he's sarcastic, and I like that form of
I'm about that life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but the best thing about Togi is like he's trying to, I told you guys the story, he's trying to turn like $50,000 into $300,000, and he has like this 3-step process, and then it ends up turning into like a 23-step process. Yeah. I just think it was absolutely hilarious. He's friends with Togi, did collaboration. Yeah, I wish. That'd be funny. Those guys just throw around, and I don't mind Steve, but aside from that, Steve will do what that is.
Never will do it is actually quite wealthy.
He's extremely.
Yeah,
because
he was talking about he was on Bradley Martin's podcast, and he was like talking about the different.
Because he has like 5% in Happy Dad.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And another investment too that he has big money in, but someone tried screwing him out of it. I think he was the Nelk boys.
Yeah, he was part of the Nelk.
Yeah, they were trying to screw him out of some money.
No, it wasn't really like that. They say that anyways.
I don't know what.
It was like brand deals and stuff. You don't know what goes behind the scenes. But I listened to Kyle Forgard's from Toronto.
Okay.
Did you know like the head of the Nelk guy, Kyle?
Yeah, I did know that.
Yeah. So they were together, but then he hopped out. He took his percentage because he had like 20% of Nelk, took it in cash or whatever, and then he also
got the hell out of there.
He got out of there and started doing his own thing. Steve, that is. But anyways, SPY. I don't know. Aside from that, let's get back into these markets, guys. As the SPY is putting in a new low of the day. And the Qs aren't just yet, so maybe it'll play catch up at some point and put in a new one. IBIT, nice indecision print on the 1-minute time frame. Not seeing what I necessarily like on the 5-minute, but maybe we find somewhat of a rebound because the selling wasn't as aggressive as I thought it was going to be. So as long as we hold up this level, there might be a good opportunity to get involved with Bitcoin one more time. So yeah, I like it. I'm not going to punch right away. I want to see some more strength and the market start to turn around as well too. So.
You know what mogging is?
Mogging? No, I don't understand that.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
Like, can someone explain this to me
and
in the chat?
Like looks maxing? I think it's just
okay, that's pretty self-explanatory. I mean, looks maxing.
I think it's just such a weird term.
I don't know what mogging is, though. I what? Go ahead, Adara.
So it's part of their culture where it's just like, and if you, I'm not going to get into it here, but if you look up a Michael Knowles interview with Clavicular, you can get a really interesting take on politics with relation to mogging.
Can we just get an explanation?
I think, like, looking more attractive than someone else is kind of what they call it. And they view this like to such a degree that again, in my understanding, I went on a really deep dive of this community, specifically Clavicular, a couple months ago. And it seems to be like kind of their gauge of self-worth and how important you are, again, not just in terms of looks, but in terms of life, and which is why I think, again, if you look up the Michael Knowles conversation, how it even forms into their political decisions is really interesting, like who outmogs whom in terms of
so it's you relative to somebody else.
Yes, or it's another person versus someone else.
Yeah.
Right? And that's how they settle beefs, that's how they settle, like, squabbles. It's really, really fascinating.
Squabble up.
This is quite fascinating,
Did you see Clavs, like, OD'd?
Yeah, well, apparently he was using substances while he was streaming, and then he said he stopped using, and now he doesn't even want to stream anymore. I don't know what the hell's going on in this world. I just got into this world on the weekend. I didn't even know these guys existed. And then this androgenic guy, anyway.
You know he's only like 21?
Clavicular?
Yeah, he's like
I didn't know that.
21.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he's like 21. Anyways, can you short car? Why? Sure, Susan, anything for you. I mean, you can physically, but am I going to? No, I think that's going to be a different story. We're not getting that breakdown. Adara shorted car, though. Congratulations on that trade, catching $26 a share. That's a big-time move. But what we're seeing is I don't love the price action, for me personally. If you like this choppy, illiquidity style of trading, then by all means, be cautious. I just don't think that we're in that breakdown territory. Could this be the start of something? Absolutely. But what I want to see is that capitulatory price action where you're down 15% and then you have the continuation the following day. Where we're sitting right now, $645, I'm not getting involved with that whatsoever. Let's see what the chat is saying. Who's my, okay, yeah, exactly, Marcio. You see what Marcio said? Short 5 shares. Why do I got to do it? Steak dinners tonight, I just covered the puts up big, says Madam Miss. Nice, man. We'll hit the stone cold for you on that one. So, I mean, at the end of the day, nice work.
How'd you like that lamb yesterday?
It was good.
It was okay.
Yeah.
Like, I felt it was a little...
I feel like it was like...
processed?
Yeah,
no?
that's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to get. I feel like it was a blend. Maybe
exactly.
what if we got fooled with the Beyond Lamb?
Yeah, Beyond Lamb, that would suck. No, I didn't really like it too much. I like the taste. I didn't like it for the health value. But, you know, I'm always grateful, though, for the food. So
I'm always grateful. No one's mogging around here.
Mogging?
All right.
God,
all right. Hold up.
Fluffsters.
Fluffsters. Are you ready for this one, Shree?
Ready. Go ahead, Joey.
All right. Hey, guys. I've got a couple. Did you set goals every day? If so, I'd love to hear it. Please also do you journal daily, and how important do you think it is making journaling a regular habit? Do you want to start this one?
I have larger goals, just in life in general, and I just like to catch little wins every day towards those larger goals. So one that I've publicly stated, I'm looking at buying a house. Obviously, buying a house in Toronto is quite difficult. And that requires me to cut a lot of expenses elsewhere in my life. So when I don't spend on something that I want, I consider that a small dub because it's advancing my goal of purchasing a house. Also, fitness goals of mine, I definitely have, I want to say a moving needle in terms of fitness goals. Like in the winter, I'm looking at adding mass. In the summer, I'm looking at cutting. So if I'm able to achieve those goals on a micro basis, for example, by not eating something or by eating something specific, that's kind of what I look at with trading. I'm always looking at improving the style of trade, whether or not I'm just, employing a risk calculator, trying to be more disciplined, holding into positions like 1R, 2R, stuff like that. So small wins on a daily basis, I feel, end up having a good and a big cumulative effect.
Absolutely.
That's my thinking.
Yeah, I don't think every day you take these quantum leaps to next. And people say, oh yeah, he's an overnight success. I don't think that's necessarily the case. It's just these small wins built up to the point where it looks like that. As for goals, I don't know if you're referring to life or trading. To be honest with you, I'm going to say yes to both. But we'll keep this to a trading basis. Of course, I want to get a little bit better every day. Who said what? Who is that? Is that Adam James? Oh, anyways, let me finish here, and then we'll get into what Adam James had to say. Yeah, I mean, as for trading, of course, like, why would I want to sit here and just remain the exact same? So I'm just trying to look. I do journal every single day. I record my trading. I keep my own equity curve in check. And essentially, it's like, hey, we want to get 0.5%, 0.25% better, whether it be taking less trades, taking more trades, putting on more shares, whatever it is. I'm not just going to sit here and try to remain stagnant. That's not the nature of myself. You want to try to get a little bit better, but you want to set realistic goals as well too. Like, I mean, you're like, hey, if you go from making essentially no money to the point where it's like, oh, I want to make $20,000 a day. No, you just start small, and then eventually you'll have the snowball effect. And sure enough, when a snowball is going downhill, it tends to get a little bit bigger, and you take it step by step. So yeah, yes to both. Do everything. Journal, how much of an effect does it have to add a little bit more? To be honest with you, I just document and I go over some of my trades. I know highly successful traders who don't even journal, right? Like they just like, okay, yeah, whatever, the next day's new. And that's the thing about the market is that every day is something new. So even though we go off of pattern recognition, no one day is the exact same.
Well said, Joe. Well said. Just setting up a couple of looks here, 577, okay. I want to talk about my trade on CRCD because we got 1R. On this one, but like fair day futures is just ripping up and it's starting to annoy me that I'm not involved here. But anyway, CRCD, we do get 1R on this one, so I'm still holding a piece, but positive on this name, very pleased. Disappointed that it didn't work up back in the $0.50. I had a bit of a bias, you know, this one's putting in higher lows, we move into the $0.50. But anything below my entry ends the trade. It really is that simple. On fair day futures. Sorry, on CRCD. Now, speaking of fair day futures, another high day, 43 pennies on the dot. That is the high, dropping down now into 41 3/4. Looks like there is some support here at 40. Prior bar low is the following, 39.50. Current bar low, 40.13. You get in here, I give it to prior bar low right around 39. I would say 39 1/4. I'm talking pennies again, not dollars. That probably is how I would work into the trade. Let's, oops, and sorry. So let me adjust my my entry here to see if we can maneuver there on fair day. 39.50, so 0.395. All right, so let's give this one the old college try over here. What are we gonna do here on fair day? So we're in at 43. We're at the frickin' day high. Let's just go in this many shares. We're gonna give it to 39.50. As I mentioned, I have a bias that we probably work in to the $0.50. Let's go ahead and put the stop price right around where I said, 39 1/4, and then we'll stop out at 39 for this amount of shares. Good. All right, so now we're back in the game. Good, good, good. Where are we at here? There it goes. Oops, that's not where it wanted to go. Sorry, give me a second, guys. So 39.50, 43.60. That's a new high of day. We have, so what do I have here? I have 43.58. That's my price. It says 44 on the board, but 43.58 is my price. I get stopped out. Okay, so we opened up a new bar. So I have to move up my stop now, not to the 11.35 bar low. I have to give it to 11.40 bar low. The 11.40 bar low is 40.13. So Joey, I'll send it to you while I put in my stops.
Sounds good, man. Nice work there. Put in those stops. Make sure you get out when you're supposed to. If we want to go over an example, I mean, I've just been having this TSLL chart up for us here at the end of the day. But Fluffy, I understand where you're getting at, and we can touch on that a little bit later. I mean, I'm in half a decade right now, so you've been trading a decade. So, I mean, combined, there's been a lot of experience here. But as for IBIT, this is when we get out, right? We catch the lower end of the range. We're like, okay, yeah, six stuff. We're not going to allow this to go on without us. So sure enough, the momentum and the volume really started to kick in, and then we were fortunate enough to take that move. But getting out when you're supposed to is important. Let's see what Adara has for us.
A couple more comments that I just want to mention here, coming from this Warsh confirmation hearing. He did just speak a little bit more here about policy shifts at the Fed. This is a theme that's really existed throughout his testimony. He said, quote, if the Fed did a series of policy reforms, inflation could be lower and the economy could be stronger. He's also specifically said that inflation is directly tied to the Fed's actions. His take on inflation, where it comes from, has been an interesting one and one that's come up a couple times and been questioned by certain senators. I also want to mention here, talked about digital assets as we suspected he might. We know he's been involved in crypto. He's advocated for crypto in the past. He said in response to pro-crypto Senator Cynthia Lummis that digital assets are already part of the fabric of the financial services industry within the U.S. So just some comments to be aware of here. Back to you.
Conversation going on in the chat about journals are a must. I mean, the devil's in the detail, right? Like, the more detailed you get, sure enough. And I'm going to be honest with you, like, creating an algorithm, something that's just essentially automated, it's so easy now. Make an algo that triggers like only a couple of times a month or once a week or something along those lines, and just see how the equity curve is formed, right? The more you're in the market, obviously, the more risk you're taking on, and the higher probability of things not working out for you is, right? So just try something along those lines. Trade less is important, sitting on your hands and getting in that right set of bigger shares. Yeah, I mean, like, okay, specificity is key. Right, so if you build something where the criteria are so detailed, the chances of it triggering more often are lower. But with the detailed in, the probability is going to be significantly higher, okay? So try making something, like you have so many AI tools in your favor right now, PDT out of the window. There's just so many things aligning for how you can set up some of these tools to work in your favor, and I think it's really important. That's where the next step is. I mean, we talked about it time and time again, just using these tools to your trading advantage because other individuals are doing it, so why not you? There's no point in falling behind just yet.
Agree completely. Yeah, I don't really journal. Never really have. What I did was just kind of write my entries and exits at times, but you know, I'm pretty aware of what my feelings are, what my weaknesses are, and kind of. I think you're alive to that. Most people are alive to that. And I think some people need to journal to kind of be able to get that out.
Want me to be honest with you?
Yeah.
I think for me personally, is I don't want to call it a coping mechanism, like just writing down. But at the end of the day, is we know that it gets frustrating. So I typically say when I put something that's frustrating me in my mind and I put pen to paper, I feel better about it and just write it down. Now I stand on the side where I don't think like, hey, I've had excessive journals. Has it changed my trading to a point where it's like, oh, you absolutely need to do this? No, I'm gonna say no because you know where you go wrong. You know what you shouldn't have done.
That's what I'm saying,
right?
That's what I'm saying, right? So most people are alive to the mistakes that they make, right?
Exactly.
Like, but I think it is a good coping mechanism.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Just writing things down. I like keeping my equity curve just for a competitive standpoint, right? Like it's like, hey, I look at it as a game, kind of. It's like, hey, I want this thing to continue to climb as high as I possibly can without it going through any form of a drawdown. That's just a game that I made up in my head. So it's just so easy. I just have a spreadsheet. I type in a couple of numbers in the date, and then sure enough, you just try to establish something. It's nothing scientific or groundbreaking.
Yeah, it's good enough though, clearly.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Faraday, not really working out here. I didn't get stopped out because it didn't breach prior bar low, but we're out of the money by 2 pennies here. So into 42 we go. I got 43.58 right now, so we're a penny and a half out of the money. I'm looking for a move into 50 pennies here. That's just my bias, okay? So we got a bigger red candle and the 1145 candle, the 1150 candle now. Barely green. I'm looking for a continuation. Here comes 43. We just got popped up a little bit. So I don't know if we're resuming trend, but I'm definitely looking for a move into that 48, 49 area. There's 43 and a half. Here comes the high of day. There goes the high of day. That's a new high of day on Faraday futures. Looking for a print into 44. There it is. There's the breach of 44. Good continuation here. I think some shorts may have been caught offside here because we did have a bit of a drop. But look, no continuation here above 44. We're looking for 45 now. Backed out into the mid 43s we go. So 44.75. High of day on Faraday futures. There it goes right back into 44. Looking for a 45-ish print. Into this move. Let's see what we can kind of get. 44 and a quarter. No continuation though. No buying, stepping in, pushing this into the high 44s, at least not yet. Continuing to watch the tape. The tape is showing a lot of yellow and red now, so that's not really good, especially when you see blue, especially on my tape. Blue means selling under the bid, and that usually is not good if you're in a long position. Other trade that I've got on right now, CRCD still hanging out at 545. It's putting in higher lows. Into 46 it goes. I'm looking for the $0.50, still holding shares on this one, and definitely interested in a $0.50 touch. But let me tell you something else, man. Open frickin' door. Where is it at? Show yourself, open door. Open door just got into a high of day. Again, 596 or thereabouts, showing 94s right now. The door could be open. Above $6? No, you think? I haven't heard too much from our friend Kaz Najatian lately. He was, I follow him on X. I haven't been seeing too many of his posts lately. He was posting up a storm when he took the helm and started, you know, and there was a lot of interest.
I always thought this was
I haven't heard him. I
always thought this was somewhat of a meme stock, to be honest with you.
No question about it.
Right? Like, I don't know. It's all online.
The question is, can you make any money off it, right? Like,
yeah.
That's
I mean, that's the, man, it's the #1 question. For sure. I mean, like, look, it was on this big time run, all fun and games in the middle of the summer, $11, and then sure enough, you're down 50%. 24 seller, Shreve said over there, 44 seller, 1,500% right there, guys. Car is breaking down. Yeah, let's take a look. Adair, you still in this short, hopefully, because it's starting to move. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. You will know. So this thing has dropped $150 off of that high, roughly. You will know when the breakdown is starting to happen. Is it halted to the downside? Yes. That inverted hammer candle, you have the largest candle on the daily in this whole run yesterday. Watch out for this to close as an inverted, and then you're going to get the continuation, a $150 drop in CAR. It was only a matter of time until this thing broke down. So halt down in CAR. Let's actually pull this thing up. What are we trading at right now? 607. What are we halted at? We're going to figure that out momentarily. 630. Oh, okay, so it's popping up. Tap up there, Sharif. Damn. Yeah, that's not too good. Open is not a meme stock, says no respect. Respectfully, I think it is at the end of the day. But hey, man, there it is. CAR to the downside. But if it opens up above 630, whoever was short is going to be $23 out of the money, especially if they got in right before those halt parameters. Oh yeah, angry wife. I happen to think so. But it doesn't matter what I think at the end of the day, right? NVDA starting to head a little bit lower here, guys, and then also SPY. Nasdaq holding up pretty good, surprisingly so, that the SPY is at the low of the day almost.
There goes Faraday into another high of day. Let's wet the beak here. Looking for the bigger move into 48 though. Here's 45.5, looking for 46 next. We'll wet the beak. Look, you move into the mid 40s. I don't know. I just have the bias that we always get to the whole dollar, half dollar. Sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. That's what we're going with this time. Seller at 45 now. But look, I mean, this still hasn't breached the prior bar low, and trend is intact. I almost got stopped out, but I didn't. So let's go ahead and post at 46. We're going to post a small one here at 46 just as a liquidity tester. And there goes CRCD into the half dollar, looking for the majority of the print here. It's a 2-penny spread. Why is it a 2-penny spread at these levels? That's so annoying. Okay, so we're going to have to wait now for the bigger move above the half dollar here on CRCD. Yeah, I didn't get the print that I wanted, quite frankly. And here comes Faraday again, very close to 46. There's 46, Joey. We're looking for 48s now on Faraday. It's on its horse here, man. We're holding shares. Let's go ahead and take some out here, because there we go. We're looking for a little bit more. Now we're going to let this one light up here at 1R, assuming, of course, we get into 48 pennies. That's where my 1R is. 46.5. We're looking for continuation here on Faraday. Let's go, Faraday. Shout out to my man Darwin, who always throws the 2 pumps thing in the chat. I absolutely love it. It shows that he is, in fact, I know I call a lot of people OGs in the chat. I get that, and a lot of them do deserve it. But Darwin.
Dancing Darwin.
Dancing Darwin. Well, quite frankly, he's the OG Darwin, because I remember him from when I first started on the show. I know for a fact he was there. The fact that he knows that reference goes back to Pratt and I know when that actually happened. Pratt and I, it was like the fall of 2022. So he's been around since then. He's been on. Shout out to the OG. All right, we're going to Adara.
Breaking news, guys, in the crypto space, COIN and GEMI both dropping here. Seeing reports that New York State is suing both Coinbase and Gemini for allegedly violating the state's executive law, according to some court records, specifically suing Gemini Titan. So again, COIN, GEMI, both reportedly looks like they're facing some lawsuits from New York State, again, accused of violating executive law. This is according to court records. Back to you.
Pepper saves lives. Okay. I mean, we see what you got. We're talking about it, right? We got a tap of 603 right now on CAR. 607.43 is that whole parameter. Kalua, nice work. Yeah, I know you've been here for quite some time. There goes Bitcoin starting to find somewhat of a rebound. I don't know if it has anything to do with the news that we were just talking about with Adara, but we can pull up Coin and we can pull up Gemini. Coin, let's see what you're up to. Did you start to tank? I mean, so Neil and I, we've been looking at like, okay, you have a catalyst step in, the stock pumps, sure enough, we look for the fade. So maybe if we get a dump, it sells off, you can see essentially that you're gonna start buying up. And there goes Coin, GE, what is it, Gemini? What is
Gemini? Space Station, GEMI, GEMI.
GEMI, yeah, there we go. There's Space Station. No, I think, okay, yeah, anyways, that didn't really do anything right there, so no reaction on those two names. But Coinbase started to sell a little bit there. Sure.
All right, there's a move back into 46, Joey, on Faraday Futures. Here comes the high of the day. It's 46.42 high.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, let me
Go
think.
ahead.
569. This thing just sold almost $30, just like that. 599.
It's over.
I told you, Neil. At some point, this was going to step in. This is absolutely insane. You're going to see the implied volatility start to kick in. You go up 18%, or you're up around 10% plus. Now you drop. Now it's starting to find a rebound. The average true range on this is absolutely insane, and the spread is definitely in somewhere of Adara's neck of the woods. Just be cautious on trading this one.
It's pretty. It's so pretty.
Ha 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 ha.
I like how he's just taunting him, eh? He's like, because you know what they were doing there, right?
They're playing ball, no?
They were having a free throw competition. So the first to get 5 wins.
Yeah.
And so Wesley Snipes in the movie, what's his name? His name's Sidney Dean. Thank you, Neil. Sidney Dean. He's like the court badass, right? And he runs, whatever. And let's just cut the crap. This white guy comes up. And all of a sudden, this white guy's challenging him. He's like, let this white boy, blah, 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 right? And anyway, but okay, I got to pause. There goes Faraday again into the high of the day. We're taking it out there at 47 and change, 47.66, baby. Faraday is on the way to the $0.50. How it gets there and whether we get bamboozlement along the way, your guess is as good as mine, but it's a great move up on Faraday. I'm looking for a little bit more here into the high 48s, low 49s. There's 47.5 again. Can we breach prior bar highs? So I'm going to put some orders out, but I just want to finish the story. Anyway, so he's shooting free throws, right? They play a game, and then he kind of, what's his name? Billy Hoyle, which is Woody Harrelson in this case. He pulls a couple of good passes, and he shows that he can play. So Sidney Dean, Wesley Snipes, you're not going to have that. You don't come on my court and pull a couple of passes out your rear end and think that you're whatever.
You're that guy.
So then he's like, yo, put your money where your mouth is, right? So then they start shooting free throws. So Sidney's scoring him. He's showing off, right?
Yeah.
But Billy's scoring him as well. So then it comes to that last shot. So he scores his 4th shot, and this guy's like, we're going because you're going to miss, right?
Yeah.
We're going to eat. So he's like basically taunting him, and then they both go home broke. Because that guy that was dancing loaned Wesley Snipes some money because he didn't have any money to bet on the game, or he didn't have enough money. Okay. So he ended up losing, and Wesley Snipes ended up losing as well. So Dean.
All right.
You gotta watch that movie, bro.
We can take
great. It's a classic, man.
I'm a classic. I gotta watch Warriors. That's one of the movies that I want to watch. Warriors. You ever seen that movie? No? Like like Warriors come out to play. Yeah. Oh, really? Like the old gang movie?
No, man. I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No, what year is that from?
It's like I'm pretty sure it's like a 70s, like late 70s, 80s
Oh, wow.
movie. Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's send things off to Adara happening now with Adara and the Neil's lesson of the day. Oh.
Yeah, I'll be passing things off to Neil after this segment here for his lesson of the day. So we're going to start here with happening now. And what's happening here with the SPY is trying to form a little bit of a base at this 706 level. Seeing a couple of individual stocks doing this as well, including off the top of my head, SanDisk, getting to yesterday's low from around that early morning time of day, and then just bouncing off that level. So S&P 500 trying to find a little bit of stabilization here at these levels. As we digest a whole bunch of headlines, we did have that drop around 11 a.m. on the SPY. Still never found any news for that. But one name that is popping and dropping and does not need any news to do so, mark my words, is Avis. That is, of course, Avis Budget Group, CAR, rental car company that made an intraday high here of 745, an intraday low of 570. So all over the place as the squeeze action on this stock continues without a doubt. COIN pushed lower, but right now trying to bounce back a little bit here. COIN and GEMI, Coinbase and Gemini, both reportedly facing a lawsuit from the state of New York. Get more details, I'll keep you posted. Further, last but not least, keep an eye on this man here, J.D. Vance, and whether or not he's going to Pakistan, because we know he was supposed to go there, leaving today, getting there by tomorrow for talks with Iran. Now, apparently he's still hanging out at the White House, according to New York Times, and his trip has been postponed. So negotiations with Iran continue to be on watch. I do bring this up, of course, because it relates to USO and, tangentially the overall market. And, of course, Kevin Warsh, that confirmation hearing, still happening. He is still answering senators' questions, and so until he stops doing that, I'll still be up here listening and keeping you guys posted as to what's happening next, so don't go anywhere. Hit the like. Hit the subscribe. Join us on anywhere we stream, and you can also check us out on X at TTV Research for some of these social media posts and live updates. And right now, we're going to send you over to Neil, who I know has a lesson. But Neil, what is today's lesson?
Can you count, suckers? The world is yours if you can count. And if you know, you know. How about this? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it? You know, Joe should know that. Well, you better know that. If anybody has not seen The Warriors, straight up legendary film. It's not even like the craziest budget. I'm not gonna tell you that it's like some kind of profound nonsense, but you watch it, it is so legit. And that's one of my favorite scenes. I mean, of all time, that I could watch that speech over and over again. I'm not gonna tell you how it works out for the brother, but anyways, let's get to the lesson of the day. I'm a huge fan of that movie. I can't believe, I'm so surprised that Sharif hasn't seen. That's it, yeah, I really, for sure, because we're about the same, we have a lot of the same taste. But anyways, back to the lesson of the day. All right, first, this one's gonna be a big fail on my part, because there was a point today, I mean, in real time, in front of you guys, I didn't just talk myself out of the trade, I actually let myself get talked out of a trade. In some ways. Like I was in my head just going over all the reasons why I shouldn't take like a standard textbook trade. Even after I outlined pretty much exactly kind of what it was doing. I'm like, oh, well, you know, like all this time, Avis hasn't actually given me a short setup, so I'll just sit there and I'll watch it all day and I'm not gonna take any trades and I don't take any trades. And then it did flash one, right? Like there's the open, there was the higher low, there was the halt down. This is the confirmation of it. It halts down for the third point on the trend line. Fails to make a new high. Breaks the trend when it breaks VWAP. Confirms underneath VWAP. Okay, fine, I can make the argument that these are a couple of green candles re-challenging the trend. Confirms here. This is the candle right there, confirmation underneath the volume weighted average price. And on top of it, if I had entered here, I'm probably giving it to 93. This entry could have legitimately been through 660 and then risking to about 82. So that was that, remember I said $25 worth of risk, and then to first support, you were looking, and that's a 60 entry, and that's like a 30 something, so you're looking at 30, and that's a 1-to-1, and then into the lows, and it halts into the lows, so you could still be holding, and then maybe getting it out down there. It's a standard, I know it's being applied to something different, but it's just a standard trade. And I was even like, to Randy showed up, who's not even a trader. I was just like, ah, man, you see this? And I'm like, it's setting up a short now. He's like, no, because I showed him the daily chart. But it really just comes down to the reason usually, and I say usually because whatever, like I said, I'll stop to fail on myself for this. Usually the reason why you have that kind of a structure to your setup, where I can throw it up and it's easy, like this is where I would enter and this is where I would get out, and if I get in here, I might have to give it more room, but once it confirms under the trend line, I can then tighten up the stop and risk about $5 less, and then I know where my take profits are, so I know the risk to reward is good, because there's a structure of a trade execution-wise that I like. And when you have that kind of a structure or a trade plan, you just kind of do it, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and I already know what the parameters were, so you know what you're gonna lose relative to what you stand to make, right? So you're not supposed to have emotion about it. The point of that structure is so that you don't talk yourself out of it. Now, if my argument had been in that moment, the market was ripping its faces off to the upside, and there's no way in that moment I wanted to go short. Well, if I thought that that was something that could have gotten me away from it, well, there's no excuses. The market was heading down in that moment. There was no strength overall. So I can't even, like, there's nothing much that I can lean on. There's no direct, like, ETF or anything that I'm gonna care about that was making some kind of a counter move because the only one that it's in, this is the thing that's moving it the most. So it really just came down to some weird, I don't want to stand in front of it kind of deal. Or maybe this, I don't want to be guessing that this is that high. It does, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter the why. Because I'll search for it, and I still can't really come up with it. I had resigned myself to, I'm gonna take a shot at this at some point. It had to set up, and no other day did it remotely look this good for a short term. Like I couldn't find any other day, and whoops, I can go, let me just go to a 15-minute instead of dealing with that. Like in no other day did it really, truly, and honestly present this type of a setup. Like if you look at the types of, like look at the extension and chop on this. Like there is ridiculously linear uptrend, right? On the 15-minute, you could make an argument that you got something there, but give me a break. It's not nearly as parabolic in terms of range. And even if you want to call it, it doesn't confirm breaking down. You have I don't like the flushes. I want clean trend breaks. I would make it, you could say here was pretty good, but then if you take that, you probably win a little bit, so I can't even say that was bad. But it's how this day was so absurdly, chop's not the right word. Like it is washing out in both directions. It's clearly doing something very different and gives you a much wider range of rejection so that when it condenses here for that trend break, your R&R is fantastic because it's showing you that it's got a huge way to run, unlike some of the other days where it tried to turn around. So sometimes you have to remember the reason why you have a strategy that isn't just, I think X stock is a long, or I'm going long on this today. I am bullish on the market. If you have a strategy that's an actual execution plan based on if this is what I see, this is what I do, you have that in place so that you can just take the trade and leave the emotions out of it, right? And it gets a crazy one because I bet you, and the truth, this is the most true thing you'll ever hear me say. I'm more irritated and will get more like passionate and emotional about the reasons why not being in a trade that wasn't set up are important than if I actually had this trade and won like $100 on it per share. That would just be like, no, it's just another trend break. Do it all the time. That's not even that exciting. Like the exciting part is that you have a strategy that works and you just execute it. The thing that actually will get me worked up is when I don't take one of those. Like you see me do, again, you'll see that kind of a thing all the time, deploy it everywhere. And so that's why you have it. You have those types of strategies that you lean on because you know they're the ones for you. And you just gotta, suck it up, buttercup, and take it, for lack of a better word. Which I didn't do on Avis today. I'll be frustrated about it. I can tell you the lunch was actually quite good. That Thai, what did I call it? It was like Thai something chicken. Thai basil red curry chicken was absolutely delicious. I mean, apparently not delicious enough for me to remember the name of it, but don't have it every single day. It was tasty, little bit of spice, probably could have a little bit more kick. To me, if you're gonna call it like red, I don't know, I'm thinking like red curry is gonna have a little bit more of the flavor. It was good, but I don't know. That you could have added more, but I get it. It's the caterers. They gotta make sure it's okay for everybody. So quick, obvious lesson of the day, I think, and anyone that watched the show, you saw me not take that trade live. And the second it worked out or would have worked out, you can hide from it. And I don't have to journal about it. Like to me, this is already journaling. I don't have to write it down. I know what I didn't do. It was an A setup. Maybe not an A+, but it was an A setup for sure underneath that volume weighted average price. And you just have to take the setups. It's like being a poker player. Sometimes you're gonna sit down at the table or you're gonna get a hand and the pot odds say, hey, look, I'm just in a situation where I've got to make the call based on the situation, and you gotta pull the trigger. Like you might have like a weird gut feeling that it's like, yeah, I might just be paying this one off, but you know that if you don't pay that one off, then in the future you're gonna make a bad decision and not make a call where you should. You know what the range is in that spot, and you know what you then have to do sometimes. You just suck it up and you make the play, understanding that it's about it working 70% of the time or 65% of the time or 83% of the time. It's not about whether this one hits. And so just always do the right thing. If it's a positive expectancy, take the trade. And as Sharif just said, and you probably didn't hear, be a man. There's your lesson of the day.
That was so good. Thank you for that, Neil. All right. Yeah, and look, man, if you remember Mad TV, if you were around, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He looking like a man, right? So shout out. What was her name, Neil? She was an old Chinese lady on Mad TV. Miss. There goes TDIC above the dollar. It breaches the high, the 1120 high. That was 104. Current bar high, 107. This could be a double top, though. Keep your eye out on this one, especially if it loses the dollar. Current bar low is right around 93.5 pennies, and that's where I would put my stop if I'm to get in here because, well, it's holding trend. So if it loses trend, do you really want to be long on this one? Joe, you're kidding. Sub $1 to start the day. Look, it has a higher high at around 9.55. That's $1.20. So we're still a bit south of that, obviously. So if your bias is that we reject at that $1.20, even if that's not your bias, if you think we even trend a little bit more, likely we have some local resistance at that $1.20 if it is to make it up there. So that's a good amount of distance between where we're trading right now at a $1.01, a $1.02 on the ask, and that $1.20. Again, that has to be if your bias is we retest those highs. We did breach, as I mentioned, this prior high right there. That was at around 11.30. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. TDIC looks very strong at the moment, but I don't want to jump right back into it. So let's see what we're getting here. Open door also, guys, possible entry again. Look, I think, you know, most of the support levels on open door have been around the 10 EMA, the majority of them, but there have been these outlying areas here, and the money fills have been kind of at the 20. So open door, a great looking upward channel, if I can say so myself here. I haven't executed anything on it. Let's throw that parallel bar to make that upward channel. There we go. So yeah, open door $6 high. So that could be a bit of a tough resistance level from which to get through. The whole dollar level sometimes is a little bit tough. But my focus is going to be, well, obviously I'm still holding CRCD. My focus is going to be TDIC and open door. And then if Faraday wants to regain trend and get back into that 48 penny high, possibly even 50, I'd like that a lot more. Look who's on the ones and twos now.
Who's that?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Hold on, Shreve. Let me.
Yeah, go ahead, Joey.
Let's talk about Apple here, guys. We're down 2.5% on the day, and it's really starting to bleed. So this is what I'm thinking about Los Polios and Gorev. So what we have on yesterday's session, I think it was a couple of days ago. I thought it was on Apple. What was it? Anyways. Takes a little bit to turn around. As long as we hold up, that's a nice indecision print. The only thing not going for this specific signal is volume. We don't have that outlying volume print that I would typically like to see, even though it is a little bit higher than what we've been seeing for the past hour or so. I would like to see a little bit more. With that being said, slower turnaround now. We're going to breach the lower end of it, but I think if we continue to breach some of these levels, I'm trying to think of the name at what some point. I got to go back into my. Oh no, it wasn't Apple yesterday. It was a couple of days ago. Okay, so let's head that back. Let's head back a little bit here and see if we can find that specific session. Here it is. Yes, perfect. On the 16th of April. So we have our indecision prints, but it continuously prints new lows to the point where, okay, at some point it does turn around, aggressive selling, and then off to the races. A nice strong rebound. I think that's going to be the same case right now. It's not going to turn around on a dime, even though I'm liking it at 25. All right, let's get involved. I like that. If we hold up here, maybe we can get a pump up into 266.75, breaches the low of the day. We're at a dodge on that one.
I hate you. I really hate you, Ramin. Why, Ram? Why? That's why you're a liability, Ram.
Car halted up.
Car halt, yeah, I did see that.
Yeah.
I was about to speak. Thank you, Ram. There goes Faraday again into another area high. Your boy's back in. We're looking for the breach of 48 on Faraday. No continuation north of 48, but that is the day high now. 48 pennies on the dot. I've actually got better than 45. I have 46. I have 45.89. Let's wet the beak here. We're probably going to get a few rejections, I'm assuming, at 48 until we got continuation. Anything below my entry ends the trade. If we lose 46, I'm out. Okay, even though that's not a good technical trade, I'm looking for momentum here. And I'm looking for a breach of 48. We're not getting it quite yet. So lots going on here, man. Faraday frickin' futures, almost into that $0.50. Let's go ahead and put that out here, 45, or let's say 75, and then we'll give it to 45.5 for yes. Okay, so there we go. How's my other trade doing? CRCD. Into the $0.50 we go on CRCD. Still south, though, of that 553 high. That's the high of the day on CRCD. By the way, FCEL has now recovered to around VWAP. And now FCEL could be the short. So I didn't see the short coming. I wouldn't have taken that short. I would have likely taken the bounce off VWAP. That's not what it did. It lost VWAP. It lost it in a hurry. But here it is. Into 9.5, 960 area, and that's where VWAP is. FCEL could be a short off these levels, especially if the market really starts to dump. We'll see. But that is my thinking right now on the sell. I don't mind getting into that. Yes, I see that. Oh, I'm so happy Luis is in the chat, man.
Yeah. Oh,
Luis frickin' Barbado, guys. I don't really want to point out, this is Luis right here because you can't really tell from his picture, but it's A-Day trading. That is Luis Barbado right there. Small cap gapper trader extraordinaire, much better than I. Look out for his levels. He's quite technical with how, you know, he gets in and out of trades. So shout out to my man, Luis Barbado, and tag him there, guys, because he's got a whole lot of information that he can share. They obviously have the trading floor in Barcelona, so if you're there and you're interested, give him a shout. But he's also got an X account, so make sure you're reaching out to Luis Barbado if you are interested in trading some of these small cap gappers. Definitely has a lot to offer. And that's exactly what I'm thinking, Luis. To build on your point, VWAP rejection on FCEL. It's time for me to load this up on a trading screen. I'm going to keep TDIC on there. Who am I going to take off? Who am I going to take off? I can't take off any of these. So we're going to take off Open Door just for now. Let's put in FCEL on the NQ, Joey. So going to continue to watch here. We're moving into VWAP, showing 58, 59, thereabouts. So that's what I want to continue to watch here to see what kind of rejections we get. Now, current bar low on the sell is 945. Prior bar low, 945. Just saying. Just saying. A loss of 945 could be the entry, right? You have two support levels at that level, 945 on FCEL. If it loses 945 and just happens to be at VWAP and just happens to reject, well, you may want to think about that. Let's test it here, Joey, to see what kind of shorts. Are these free? No, they're not free. So if you're on real day trading, you're going to have to pay for locates on FCEL. In any event, though, it's setting up quite well. Let's move back to see what this one is doing. FFAI closing in. I don't know, man. I don't want to say closing in because it's got a lot of resistance here at around 48 pennies. We'll keep a close eye on that. And then last but not least, TDIC, south of the dollar still. So this trade, not yet for me. I'm going to keep a close eye on TDIC if it can decidedly get above the dollar and even more importantly, get above that 1210 bar high at 107. Joe, I'm a buyer.
All right, good stuff. There's Apple. I mean, we took 20% off. I'm still willing. I'm happy that I took some off. I don't typically do this, but I'm going to hold it. Obviously, we'd like to get a little bit better of a price, but we're not going to complain. We caught 20 cents just like that, take 20% off. But I want to see if we can continue to climb. What we don't have going for us is that the SPY looks like it wants to break down. All right, so you have this consolidation. You can't climb, you can't breach back in towards the volume-weighted average price, and then now you're starting to form a base, and that's going to correlate with yesterday's low. All right, some pre-market levels as well. So if we can get that rebound in Apple 60s, would be more or less the ideal profit target, but that doesn't mean we're necessarily going to get that. Let's go over to Adara.
Be aware here, guys. Keep an eye on the USO and oil and the market in general as we get comments now from Iran as to whether or not these U.S. talks are happening. We know we've heard reports that not only Vice President Vance, but the envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, all of whom were supposed to be at these negotiations in Pakistan, they haven't left America yet. Well, now we actually get news from Iran again, being reported by Iranian state media, that Iran has not decided if it's going to be participating in these U.S. talks. They're either not participating or they're just unsure. So we're going to have to wait and find out what happens here. I will let you know. Furthermore, Iran saying that the ceasefire talks can only get started after the U.S. lifts its blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. That's being reported by the Wall Street Journal. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Okay, a nice strong pop. Let's keep our eye on the tape, guys. We had a clean flush up into 50s right there, 47, 266 50s right there. Can we continue to lift that ask? I don't know. Let's see. We're starting to print a little bit lower, 8 cents. It's pretty volatile if you ask me. Okay, we're cleaning 50s now. That's a positive sign. Let's see if the bid can start to pick up a little bit as well, too. So a nice little look as the market is finding somewhat of a base. I mean, this is what we want to see. Break of that 266.60 level, and then I think we can take that next step higher into 266.80s. A nice bottoming signal here on Apple. Be cautious with this one, guys. Get out when you're supposed to.
You like DX?
Like the exhibition?
No. I'm like, no, DX. Remember from wrestling? Shawn Michaels, Triple H, China, the Road Warrior, Billy Gunn.
I don't remember these individuals.
DX, the guys that would go like this all the time.
Is that what they did? Yeah, is that group? Okay, yeah, I like those guys. I'm pretty sure Ernie Clement does that all the time on the Blue Jays.
Does he actually?
Yeah,
that's probably paying homage to DX. Case is looking at TDIC, and so am I. I have a trade to update you guys on. I'm obviously long right now on the door, open door. I took a couple of beak wetters, but it's coming back down. Look, to me, the money fills have been the breaches of the 20. We'll see if this one holds up or not. It's breaking down into 84. My stop is 77 below this bar low. Now, oh, wow, this is coming down pretty aggressively. So if this loses the volume weighted average price, I'm out. It's really that simple. Let's see what open door has to offer. But Case was talking about TDIC, and she's like, where are you in TDIC? Well, I'm not in, right? And the reason I'm not in is because this has a lot of resistance at the dollar. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles in a row with higher topping tails can't breach the dollar on a closing basis. So what I said to Case was this 12.10 bar high, the high of which is $1.07. I get long above that $1.07 if we can take out that level. But we'll have to wait to see if that's even possible. So yeah, that's the issue there. Let's take a quick look here. Open door, we're about 2 pennies out of the money. Not a good look. And FCEL is working its way above the volume weighted average price. So I'm not short, but I'm definitely looking. If it fails at this level and breaches, as I mentioned, 945, the price level, I'm going to get long I'm going to get short, excuse me. CRCD, nothing much doing at that level. And then Faraday frickin' futures. Are we done our trade? Oh, we did. We took it out at 48, Joey, so we did get the fill there. I didn't even realize I was out of the trade on Faraday, but that's the way it is. So we're done our trade on Faraday. I didn't even realize. But yeah, that's it. So now really looking at CRCD and open, and definitely interested in working my way into TDIC. And here it is above $1 again. And quite frankly, Casey, like I get that it's having trouble with the dollar, but take a look at the 5-minute chart. Look at from 1205, not even 1205. Let's take from the 1155 bar onwards. Let's do this. So this bar low right there, the 1155 bar, higher low, higher low, higher low, holds. So that low there is 94.23. This low is 94.27. So technically holds. Another higher low, another higher low. So TDIC, albeit tough to clear that $1 area, but the higher lows are operative here in my opinion. So you could get in and just give it to prior bar low, right? That's another possible move. So that's what I'm thinking about. Now, I'm continuing to watch open door because I'm out of the money on this one. I'm displeased. But the issue is we're still above VWAP. So if we hold up here, I'm going to add on open door, assuming it holds above the volume weighted average price and gives me a subsequent candle that's green. And then I will get in with the same out, 577. I should take advantage. If I'm going to stay in the trade, I should take advantage of having these prices here. If I'm not going to get stopped out again, that's kind of the big caveat. I get stopped out below 577. We're at 79.80, so we're 4 pennies out of the money here, Joey.
All right.
Not a good look.
That's all right, man. It's only a couple of pennies. All right, let's see. There's a seller that continuously steps in at 55 here. Let's see if we can break this level. I talked about 266.60 being that massive, that key focal point, essentially. We'll take some off into that supply zone until we breach it. Maybe we can provide a little liquidity in order for us to break that level. Now I'm sitting on approximately half of my position, which I'm okay with because I'm getting the feels that we just can't breach this level, or it might be a little bit longer of a grind. I have no issues getting stopped out eventually on this one. I'm not gonna I'm gonna hold it past break even because I just believe that we can continue to climb on this one. But if it doesn't, we're just gonna hold. There it goes. We're breaching that level now. This is what we want to see. How much higher can we climb? We're down 2.5% in AAPL. Keep your eyes on the tape. Every time that we ran into 266.50, you've seen that seller step in, and then you're stepping in at 55s as well. So we want to see a couple more clean flushes at and above the ask. Let's put on our filter here. We're gonna have to weave out a little bit more. Let's see what Adara's got first.
Yeah, I'm just continuing to hear that Iran hasn't made a decision yet with regards to attending these negotiations with the U.S., but I'm also hearing an interesting story from Meta. Now, this is just a report, but pretty fascinating here. Apparently, an internal memo showed that Meta is going to be installing tracking software on U.S. employee computers to capture workflow data in order to be training AI. This tool is going to be capturing things like mouse movements, keystrokes, and snapshot of what government employees see on their screens. I mean, again, if I get more info, I'll let you know, but U.S. employee computer tracking software apparently going to be installed by META, according to an internal memo that is being reported upon. Back to you.
Show this quickly. Just show this quickly so we don't get dinged. These are Indian factory workers wearing cameras on their heads so that the AI robotics can get trained on this. Can it's almost like they're forced to participate in their own demise. Right, we know the robot's likely going to take their job, right, especially for tedious work like that. Yeah. But now they have to contribute to the development of the entity that will take its job. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what they're doing. That's cold, Neil. It's just the way it is, man. But that's what they're doing right now. They in order to train these robots, they got to have thousands and thousands of hours off which the AI on the robotics obviously has to train, and that's what they're doing, man. That's what it is. Yeah. That's what it is. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that kind of thing, but that is the truth. So when that Meta thing came out, it just reminded me of that. I only saw that video like a couple of days ago too, by the way. I don't actually. Oh, Sia's going to out them. I like that, Sia.
Oh, okay.
Get it.
Hold on. Let's get involved here with some Apple guys. We're talking a little bit about this. Breaking down, I talked about that seller continuously stepping in. So I want to get out of this position because this indecision print off of those lows is going to be invalid here momentarily. All right? So get out of that. There it goes. As it breaks down, the market breaking lower. Apple not helping this rebound whatsoever. So we're going to be patient, keep our eye on it because I think at some point it will rebound, just not right this second. All right, let's get out. Yeah, I got to get out of this trade here now.
Take over?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
There goes CRCD into 554. That ends the trade for me here on CRCD. It's not a big, it's 12.2%, but I did like this structure, even though I was talking crap about it because it's on the Amex. That's just the way it is, right? I've seen too much. CRCD, good structure, continuation, but I do want to point out yesterday's highs. And this is what we were talking about earlier, that 2/3 of a dollar, right around 563, so a little bit less than 2/3. Watch out for that resistance level. That is assuming, of course, it continues on its current trajectory into area highs. But I want to bring your attention to 555. That was the implied balance high from the morning yesterday. And then the afternoon high, 11:05 on the 5-minute candle, takes us into 563. So dropping down now from 554 high into 49, but still holding trend above the 10 EMA. And quite pleased I am of not getting into the short on FCEL. What is this hot garbage? What kind of trend is this? Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Right? Like, this is not tradable here. In what universe would someone have picked this up at 885? Like, where is the support level here at 885? Someone show that to me. I mean, anyway, 885. Now you're $1 in the money. You're at 983. So FCEL, all gas, no breaks, didn't get short. It's a pay for shorts type situation here on real trading for FCEL. So I didn't get involved in that one, but definitely looks like it's going back to 10. Now, I did get stopped at an open door. I'm going to take another opportunity here to get back in. This is a VWAP bounce. I'm going to give it to prior bar low, Joey.
All right, man, good stuff. Yeah, Apple is just absolutely going tank city right now. I don't know if there's any form of news. Oh my God, it's just absorbing so much liquidity. I mean, we'll see if we can get a snapback at some point. The market's not even selling, and this thing's just going completely on its own. Now down almost 3% on the intraday session, so they're not liking what's going on with Apple currently. I think it's just more or less a liquidity grab, to be honest with you. Even though trend line has been broken, this is waterfall type PA in AAPL as it's continuing to bleed, so not too good of a look whatsoever, down to 66s. I think it'll find a rebound, but you just have to be patient with that one. Otherwise, yeah, it can really start to chop you out. We got to get out of this one relatively soon. AIXI, thoughts on the patent lawsuit against Apple for the Siri copyright infringement case towards AIXI. AIXI asking for a settlement of $1.4 billion and continued compensation. I thought they were already granted that, to be honest with you, $1 billion. Yeah, we can take a look at AIXI and see what we got going on with that one. AIXI. has it been performing? I mean, it was in play for a couple of days, and then sure enough, it just thought it wasn't in play anymore, right? And I think you have to identify that. Let's go over to the daily and see what we had. So those couple of days, and it hasn't done anything since. So keep an eye on AIXI there, brother.
AIXI. All right. In open door, a penny out of the money. 2 pennies out of the money, pardon me. Look, this is going to be a VWAP hold or I'm out. Now, we're in at 82. My out's at 77s. The reason I say 77 is that's prior bar low. Sorry, 76, excuse me. That's prior bar low. So that's what I'm looking at. Oh, no, Faraday futures, you didn't. There goes Faraday into another high of day. It's up 75%. The tape is picking up now into 51, possibly 52. I think some shorts are caught offside above the $0.50 here on Faraday because the tape really, we call this tape teleportation. Have you heard that before? I think Obi uses that term a lot. This is an aggressive move here on Faraday futures, 51.66 high. Here comes 51.50 again, but no continuation. I just had a bias there that we price spiked up by getting a lot of shorts offside just based on the candle size. I mean, it rocketed up. It's one of the biggest candles on the day right there from the low. The low of this current candle on the 5 is 46. The high is 51.60. Most of the candles didn't have that kind of range. And anyway, Faraday looking real good here. Trade this one carefully, though, and use some stops, especially below the 10 EMA. I gotta say, the 10 EMA really hasn't given up at all today on Faraday. This is the look. I mean, wow, dude, this is ripping. The shorts are caught offside. 52.45, it just ripped up again. 82% now. And what I was trying to say before this thing distracted me is, look at that green line. No breaches, none whatsoever. In fact, the low of this candle is right off the 10 EMA, and there it goes into 52.50 again. Faraday futures, you know what I'm gonna say, it's on its horse. Where it goes, I don't know, man. I mean, usually when you're around that $0.50, 40 something, I'd say we're going to the $0.50, but I think it's a little ambitious right now at 52 pennies, 53 pennies to say we're going to 75, right? But we're going to continue to watch. And if it gives me that 47.5, 48 penny area, which I perceive to be the flat top break, let me just make my case and we're going to go to Adara. This is what I'm looking at. Look how many rejections right around 48 pennies. And so if it comes back and tests that level, that could be a great buy area. We'll keep an eye out on this one. We'll keep an eye on Open Door, and we're going to send you to Adara with news.
It's over, guys. After 2.5 hours, we have concluded the FOMC chair nominee Kevin Warsh confirmation hearing with the Senate Banking Committee. It is now done. I just wanted to keep you guys posted on this. In terms of highlights, I think it was mostly pretty much as expected. There were some concerns about Fed independence, specifically with regards to the investigations into Fed Chair Powell and Fed Governor Lisa Cook that were initiated last year. Those are, of course, or sorry, I guess with Powell, that investigation was initiated at the start of this year. But regardless, those were addressed at this hearing. Kevin Warsh answering again, mostly, I think, as we expected. He said that he would be making independent decisions. And he also contradicted comments from President Trump, who we know had said that he actually talked to Warsh, or at least there were reports that he had talked to Warsh about lowering interest rates. Warsh denied that these talks had happened. He said that he doesn't know why he was chosen by President Trump, but he is excited to hopefully fulfill that role. We're going to have to wait and find out what happens here in terms of the vote for this confirmation to come to pass. But there were some discussions and questions here from the senators about whether or not we'll even get this vote and this confirmation by May 15th, which is when the Powell term is set to expire. Back to you.
Yeah, thank
you. Joey,
you.
let me ask you something.
Yeah.
You think Papa Powell goes out willingly, or, you know, he kicks and screams on the way out?
No, I don't think it's in his nature. He's going to go out willingly. Like, he's not going to make much of a fuss.
No,
He's probably had enough. He's be like, all right, yeah.
That man has been consistently, you know, dignified, calm. Like, he'll get a little sassy, but he'll keep a calm, straight face with you. Honestly, I think it would be entirely, incredibly out of character, as Joe said, for him to be upset at all. And here's the thing, like, he can stay on the government or governor's board or not. I don't really think that matters to him at this point. He is, you know, stayed calm. He stayed measured.
Yeah.
I see no reason for him to do that, either like in terms of what he would stand to gain from it, which would be nothing, or from anything we've seen of his character as of yet.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, maybe he might throw a subtle jab or something like that, but I don't think he's going to make much of a fuss.
You think he stays on the FOMC? Which would be unprecedented for an outgoing Fed chair?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. Maybe if he wants to, but I don't know. He might be tired of Trump. Maybe what if he doesn't? What if he's just sick of?
Imagine he still gets heat even though he's not the chair.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean,
like he's on there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he still gets the heat.
That's the big question. Is he just sick of what Donald Trump's saying, calling him too late Powell, or is he just paying no mind to that, just brushing it off his shoulder? I think a lot of it has to do with the, yeah, exactly. Don't be rude with the administration, so. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. He's not going to make a fuss, though.
He's not going to make a fuss.
No.
All right.
No.
That's I think that's a fair take.
Do you think he? I don't think he's going to. Do you?
I don't think he makes a fuss in the sense like where he refuses to leave, but I think that he probably discloses a thing or two on the way out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just never seen him as that type of individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's fair. We'll have to wait and see. I think he discloses a couple of secrets.
Would you think that he'll be disclosed that he was pressured by
something to that effect, something that we didn't know. Yeah. A piece of information that may be material or useful on the way out. I think we'll have to wait and see. But it should be definitely an interesting spring, man.
Apple is waterfalling, dude.
Waterfalling,
yeah. So look at this, man.
Don't go chase.
Yeah, don't chase this one like we did.
Yeah, that definite sell program.
Who sings that again?
Huh?
Who sings that?
TLC.
TLC. So yeah, you got to listen to TLC on this one, and not chase this waterfall. 265.47. Let's see if this is going to continue to bleed, man. We're really breaking down, and it's helping drag the market with it, even though it's not doing anything substantial. I would think that we'd be a little bit lower on the Nasdaq, but that's not necessarily the case because look at this price act. It's just straight to the downside. Support levels break. And then off to the races it goes. So maybe this is what we have to do, Loss, is just wait for a candle to open up, excuse me, on the backside of this trend here, and then maybe you can find somewhat of a rebound. But PA, extremely.
I'm going to ask you another question.
Okay.
Assuming Kevin Warsh gets confirmed, he weasels in to the Fed, he's the Fed chair.
Yeah.
Over, under, by the end of the year.
Yeah.
End of the calendar year, not 1 year since taking position. So calendar year 26 ends. Do President Trump and incoming Fed Chair Warsh?
Yeah, if he doesn't cut rates instantly, the minute if a couple meetings go by and there's no rate cut, instantly,
straight to jail
right away, brother. What else do you expect from Donald Trump?
But you caveated that. You said if no rate cuts. I'm throwing that out in general. Rate cuts, no rate cuts. Is there beef between the two men by the end of the calendar year?
No, if we get multiple rate cuts, then yeah.
They're going to be best friends.
It's good. Yeah, he's like, oh, Warsh, he's the best, rate cut, all that stuff, right? You know what I mean? At his first meeting. But if he doesn't get it, then sure enough, after a couple, what did we say?
Neil Scrub is a guy who gets long open at 582 instead of 581. Real lyric. You're killing me, bro. He's long. Neil's long open door at 81s. He has a better price than me. I suck. No, I'm kidding, man. Hopefully this holds, Neil. I mean, it's VWAP. It's putting in some higher lows. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. We're talking about open door, guys. Neil and I, where the hell is it? Neil and I both in. He's got a better price. I got 82s. We'll see how this cookie crumbles, man.
Okay.
I'm looking for a move. Hey, look, you can get ambitious and say back to high a day at 6, or you can say something a little bit more reasonable like the 90s. So we'll wait and see. Shout out to M. Kelsey. Sharif's likes jazzing up the chat with TD taco ideas. Hey, man, I'm just asking questions. Eddie, Eduardo, you're back. Anytime I talk about Trump, Eduardo is right in the chat with a comment. I love that. He will have beef with him, as with 90% of his staff, says Eddie. Eddie, 6907. All right, thank you. Eddie, Cool Brio saying LOCL. I think I took that one off the side chart, local. We're going to call this one low. Yeah, we can call it local. That's fine. I was going to call it local. LOCL, let's take a quick look at this one. See what this one's up to. What do we got here? Yeah, back to the volume weighted average price. I don't know, Cool Brioche. This one, it's just, I think there's better trades out there. than this one here. It's very consolidative unless you really want to, you know, buckle down and insist on getting your levels. And in my submission here, the buy area is 260 to 265, and the sell area is around 3 to 310. Unless you're going to play the range on this, it's not for me. Moreover, the range is really tightened up as the volumes dropped off. As you can see, we're putting lower highs on the volume bars. That's pretty apparent. And then coinciding with that is a tighter range. We're not quite making it down into 60 anymore. Looks like 65 is resistance, and we're not quite making it up to 3. We're getting into the mid-90s, mid to low 90s, in fact. So I see your point, Cool Brioche. It's not my favorite setup. So I'm going to go ahead and say no. Now, what I want to say is FCEL got a bunch of topping tail candles here in a 10. So why this is important is this could be a lower high, right? That's an area high, 10 1/3, and then you mosey on back after losing 9, you get to about 880 and change, and now you're putting in 2 topping tail candles at the whole dollar level, doing 2 things here. One, you're putting in a lower high than that 1034. Number 2, you're rejecting the $10 whole dollar level. And then number 3, you're kind of putting in that failed attempt to reach prior area high. Now, what I want to see is, does it lose VWAP, which is around 960? So FCEL, bunch of topping tail candles in a 10. This could be trouble here for some of the longs in the same way, or the exact opposite way, that the longs are not in trouble on Faraday. There goes Faraday again. It didn't give you 48. If you were looking for 48, I was looking for 48 because that's the breakout, the flat top break. It gave you barely 50. Prior candle low is 50.28. Current candle low is 50.55. So you're having to buy this off the $0.50 as opposed to 48. And here we are again, another attempt at 54. It's 54.60 high a day on Faraday. Let's continue to watch that and see what comes of it. I personally don't have a trade here. NVTS, Neil was nice enough to tell me that this one is free for shorts. It's losing VWAP here. It's got a ton of lower highs. It just lost VWAP if it closes this way for the first time on the day on a closing basis. So the short could be here. It could be in on NVTS as it moseys on down to that 15 3/4 there. So that's what I'm looking at, man. I could be short here, NVTS. Let's take a quick look. CRCD, we're done our trade. So we can just put on NVTS, which is not on the Amex. Sharif, calm down. On the NQ, update, there we go. Now, what's my move here? Am I going to punch willy-nilly, or am I going to wait for a move back up into the 30s, high 30s, low 40s? That's the decision I have to make here, but NVTS is bleeding. It's on the way down. It could be a great short. You're going to have to trade this carefully, though, in the same way that FCEL now is also on the way down to VWAP, Joey. So a couple of possible shorts here, FCEL and NVTS midday.
There goes, USO, new high of the day up to 126.18.
Oh, there's Trump news here.
Trump's,
that's earlier today. He said, ceasefire expires Wednesday evening U.S. time. White House didn't respond to requests for comments, says the New York Post. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday. I mean, we can take one more attempt here on Apple, but it's just absolutely getting destroyed. So, I mean, really, really waterfall-esque stuff. If it breaks the low of the day, we're in right around that neck of the woods. So a rebound here. It's just that the tape is just telling us that, hey, we're not ready to find some form of a rebound. So we are kind of front-running this and looking for a little bit. We're starting to anticipate, not necessarily participate. With the USO continuing to climb, it's not the best potential trade. And I mean, this is really weak. I haven't seen Apple do this in quite some time. Like, look at this price action, man. Just boom.
I've seen that.
Like a whole day of just essentially selling, 1 hour time frame, 3 hours of just consecutive selling. So let's see if we can get a nice little bounce. We're in at a good position, 67s. We're now printing 76s. So yeah, patience is key. Fine for that rebound. If that trend line snaps, then off to the races we go for a nice rebound here in AAPL. Nice, a nice little pop there. That's what we're talking about, Sharif. Let's see if we can continue on this. It's really, really fluctuating though. Volume. It's put in a lot here today, 21,650 shares. Joseph AMD Jones. Yeah, let's take a look at AMD and run through a couple of our names here as we allow this Apple trade to work, maybe we can get that slingshot effect. If not, then it's just weak and we put that off to the side. Let's get off this hour time frame and move over to something with a little bit more detail. We have AAPL up there. We've been talking about that. And VDA, what have you been up to? Starting to find somewhat of a bottom here, this base $200 mark. What do we have on the 1 minute time frame? I know Gaurav was looking at the 2 and the 3. Not too bad on the 2 minute, right? So a nice little bounce. If you're going to find one in any name, I would probably start right here. Now, as for Google, same thing, guys. These tech names continuing to be weak, and I think that's going to be led by USO continuing to put in new highs of the day every 5 minutes or so. So yeah, I mean, there it is. Market back in play. Not good for the tech names. Amazon, we thought was going to hit an all-time high actually here today. Not necessarily the case, but what is strong and what hasn't been strong is Microsoft. Microsoft still hovering around that 425 level. And a nice rebound off of the lows. I mean, it's still down about 25+%, but 20% off of that bottom. Hey, typically in a bull market, we like that. Aside from, is it at a discount? Maybe, possibly. But Apple, man, Apple can't find it.
I like that.
Where the money at?
Yeah, Joey.
That song.
Yes, my guy.
Chingy also sing Holiday Inn.
At the Holiday Inn.
Yeah, man.
A lot of words you can't say in that song.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, but that's all right, man. That was a good era of music. Moving forward, Meta.
Did you ever go to the nightclub called Money?
No.
You never went to Money?
Where was it?
Neil, did you ever go to Money? The nightclub called Money? You know it? All right. Just making sure.
Where was Money?
Adelaide.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
So hold on. No, Richmond. The one that goes east to west is Richmond, right? West to east is Adelaide. Yeah. No, so Richmond. Yeah. It was condos now, but anybody in the chat from Toronto know Money? Am I just the only old geezer who remembers that? But why are you laughing, Sia? There goes Faraday. We're back in this, Joey, into 52. Several beak wetters. Seller at 55. There's a big seller at 55 here. That is the high of the day. I'm posting up at 56. Anything below my entry at 52, we get stopped out. Looking for the continuation above 55. Let's see where this one goes, man. We had a bias that this one would get to the $0.50. It breached it and then some. If it loses the current trend, I'm out. It's really as simple as that. But 3 beak wetters on this. I got a couple more smaller position, full disclosure, on FFAI. We're going to let this run. Keeping an eye here on open door. What's the door up to? Well, the door is right back into our entry at 82. So nothing bad to say, but nothing good to say either. I'm looking for continuation, ideally into 90s and even $6. So, yeah, Joe, okay. Shout out to my guy. What is this? Vinny Vici, Sharif, which club did you go to when you were younger, brother? Well, Money, man. I used to go to Money all the time, especially Sundays at Money. Man, you could get $3 Red Bull vodkas, which I liked at the time.
Those
Those were great.
Those are like college prices, man.
Yeah, man. No, but go ahead, Sia. Yeah, go. No, it's a rum and coke, and that's all I drank in Punta Cana, and that's why I never woke up. You're muted, Sia. So say it again. Say it again. Yeah. So Sia was asking me what my favorite drink is, whether it was vodka Red Bull. Yeah. I'm like, no, it's rum and coke, and that's the only thing I drank in Punta Cana, and I never woke up with a headache, not once. Now, I didn't wake up feeling good.
Okay.
But I didn't wake up with a headache either.
The question depends on how many of those rum and cokes you had, you know?
That will remain undisclosed.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm playing. All right. We're having a good time, man.
Remember This Is London, TIL?
Of course. Right beside District. Do you remember District?
Of course.
Yeah, man. District, This Is London. We're right beside one another, man. Those are good times. Those were good clubbing days. Now, I understand, like, Toronto is not as fun to club in anymore, but I see us saying, well, yeah, she's part of the scene, so I'll have to take her word for it. And it doesn't seem like it's as good anymore, but maybe that's just the old head talking, but we've got a young head back there who says she's echoing my sentiment. All right, guys, at a fair day, that was probably too tight of a stop. I should have given it the prior bar low. That was probably a mistake there because this one is still holding trend. But watch out for some resistance here at 55. There's 4 candles in a row on fair day with topping tail looks. Let me just show you kind of what I mean by that. Now, I'm not saying 55 is an area that I earmarked for resistance, but something to keep in mind out. This current chart pattern right now on fair day could spell trouble, but I also see the other side of the coin where it's holding higher lows. So that's my look there. What else? BlackBerry. People are saying BlackBerry is creeping up. Shout out to my man TT Mass, BB. Let's take a quick gander here at BlackBerry. What are we going to take off, Joey? We're going to take off NVTS. Yeah, let's show them BlackBerry there, Assassino. On the NQ, incorrect. It's on the NY. Let's load this up. Let's go, computer. Assassino, you're killing me, bro. He's always quick with the keys too, eh?
Click on him now.
Yeah, this is not bad, guys. A bit of a rounded bottom. Looks like it held 5 1/3. Now it's on the way to 5 2/3. I think you're going to get a lot of resistance at 575. Those were the pre-market highs. But yeah, BlackBerry up 2.5%. Reported earnings yesterday. Not bad report. Well received by the market. Ran up pretty aggressively. All you got to say is NVIDIA, right? And then everybody loves you after that.
There we go.
What are your what's
Yes,
your
sir.
look, Joey? Oh my days, a lot.
It was a lot, man, but
Okay.
I mean, that's all right because we got a lot on here on Apple. Let's take a little bit more off here, guys. I'll sit with 20% remaining on the position. Off of that low, give that one more attempt. Trend line officially broke. Of course, like the one that it works, I take off half right here, so now we're sitting on 20%. Yeah, let's go Apple. I mean, we got at it the first time, and then we just got right back in. So not too bad of a look there on AAPL as it found somewhat of a bottom. Hey, man, let's try to hold this for a little bit longer. 67 would be the more ideal. We had to give this another opportunity. At some point, I didn't think we were going to continue on that path of just complete selling. So Apple treating us really well here today. 66.30, 66.67 would be more ideal because we're at 255.67. So we'll hold the remaining bit for $1 if we're fortunate enough to get that. So somewhat of a rebound. I think we can get there, right? 267 seems totally reasonable here in AAPL. Let's go Apple says, yes, Mike Peter Ryder. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It's 12:53 already. We've had a couple of I think this is all I've taken throughout the midday, to be honest with you, so around that 115. So being patient is extremely key, and then waiting for those high-quality opportunities to fall in your lap. Would we have liked to hold the full position? Absolutely, but sometimes you just got to take profit as it comes, extract it from the market, regardless of what happens. Hindsight 2020. Someone mentioned yesterday the market is the best what-if college of all time or something along like that. And I said, yeah, the class of hindsight 2020, because that's essentially what it is. If only the woodpecker cried Sharif, but unfortunately that is not the case. If you knew where that was from, then I would give you credit, but I highly doubt that was it.
Woodpecker? Is it from Woody Woodpecker?
No, it's from a movie called Holes, but the book Holes is a good one. Aside from that, guys, nonetheless, yeah, Shia LaBeouf, have you ever? Of
course, yeah, from Transformers.
Yeah. So
it's some problems, but good guy.
He's going through some stuff right now. He's going through
that.
Yeah, I mean, he's a child star though.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
So,
we know how the Macaulay Culkin shutout.
Yeah, he turned things around.
Wait, you've seen Honey Boy, right, Joe? About his youth?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh my God, it's so good. I saw the world premiere. Shia was there. If you're into Shia, if you find his whole thing interesting, I highly recommend it.
I love Shia. I love everything that Disturbia was one of my favorite movies back in the day. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big Shia fan. I think it's like Peanut Butter something. He's in another movie. So anyways, yeah, 2.5% to the downside. A nice pop up through the supply zone of 266.22. We're going to hold on to the remaining. If we get to 67s, we're all out of dodge, and we'll accept that for what it is. A nice little trade on AAPL. Trend line broken. Let's pull up on the 5-minute time frame and see what we have. Boom, this is the stars were aligning on that one. It took a couple attempts. I went over the example. I knew this was going to happen. I should have got out a little bit quicker on that other opportunity, but that's it, right? That shoulda, coulda, woulda. We're not talking about that. Moving forward, we have to remain forward looking. Where did we see this? It was the other day. So you have multiple prints being displayed, but then they fake you out on literally 3 occasions. And then eventually it starts to turn around, and that's kind of the nature of what happened here now. So you had to give yourself those multiple tries. Once it stopped you out, be patient, get involved once again, trend line break, indecision print off the lows, whatever it may be, that's going to be your green light to go for a nice little rebound here in Apple.
All right, lots of different names being called out now. Let's get right down to them. Bovin and the crew and Grunfeld and Racer X9. Yeah, I see FCEL, it's losing. It's a short here, it looks like. Let's look at TPET. This is breaking out. Light on volume, relatively speaking. It's done 5 2/3 million, but it's a 54 penny name, 53-ish penny name. It's up 10 and 1/3%. This one trades on the Amex. TPET is the ticker. As you can see, the chart a little sparsely traded. So kind of feels like maybe the volume is a little sporadic on this one, comes in at random times, but nonetheless breaking out, something to consider. AIFF, shout out to Firefly Neurosciences, a sponsor of ours. This is a good look here. Shout out to Bovin, bull flag, continuation. There's the move up, the hold. Yeah, sure, you got lower highs, but you had volume weighted average price holding up. It could have been a flat bottom break, but it wasn't. It was a continuation. So we're forming right now bull flag number 2. Let's see where the range ends up being for the second flag. We had an initial range of 7 to 19, so about 12 pennies at the utmost worth of range. It obviously tightened up a little bit. Something to look out there. I almost got stopped out of open door, but I'm still holding actually because it didn't really breach my level at below 575. But open door may be losing VWAP here, so I'm gonna have to look at that. Also, Buru, B-U-R-U, moving up. Oh, Bovin, this is a good one. Into 26 pennies. This is on its horse. It's breaking it out. And the Buru, doesn't Buru mean like donkey in Spanish?
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
Oh, doesn't it burro or something like a burro, whatever, burro. Say that again, Assassino? Donkey.
Donkey.
Buru, okay. How do you say Assassino?
Boo-hoo.
Oh, okay.
Like boo-hoo.
This one's really good, though. Look at the move up on this one. BURU up 30 and 1/3%. Let's put in the ticker. Everybody can follow along. Very good strength here. Looks like there could be some support at 25 pennies, but I don't think we've cleared it by enough to really say, okay, we're going to use that topping tail candle as support. But that's a great rounded bottom and a great breakout. Keep your eye on this one. Obviously, penny stock south of that $0.50. Obviously, it's south of the dollar. But Buru in focus here. NVTS continues to bleed. So I need to make a decision whether or not I'm going to get into NVTS as the short here. Because this one is just, it looks like it's on the way down, uninterrupted. Is it breaking trend? Is it a bamboozler? Not really. So prior bar high to 1536. Let's see, this one is free for short. So I'm going to have to put in NVTS here. And we're going to risk that much. And then my stop loss, oh, it's bleeding, dude. 536. So that prints, okay. So that would be a good amount of shares there. We go live. And then, what the hell? 536, how come it's not flipping short? 1536, oh, my mistake. 1536. There we go, okay. So this one, yeah, okay. So I'd give it to 1536 because that's prior bar high. Or, yeah, prior bar high. So I would have to give it to prior bar high. Current bar high is 1528. You could give it to that if you're more inclined. Sorry, it didn't load up the chart. That's what I'm looking at right now, Joey. Definitely interested in getting into this one. Definitely resistance at 40. So if you're looking, you're gonna may have to give this 20 pennies if you're really looking at the resistance level. Look at all those topping tails into 20. So that's another thing to look at there. NVTS short, possibly into, I want to say 1475, 14 2/3. There's a big area of resistance there in the pre-market. It could make its way all the way down there. Obviously, you're going to have to breach 15, which is a whole dollar level. That's all another issue there. So one to look at. And TPET is breaking out into 55 pennies. So TPET breaking out. There's a lot of names moving right now, both up and down. Take your pick.
Oh.
I'm getting distracted here by so many of them. What's up, Joey?
Apple, big time move there on that one.
Long, eh? You flipped long?
Well, no, I was always long.
You were long.
Yeah,
okay,
I was always
bad.
long, but it took me, it took me a couple attempts to go here. But yeah, grab that bottom on that one. Now off to the races we go. We were talking about 266, 67 being our primary. There we go. Now we're printing 70s. This is what I'm talking about essentially. So let's take a little bit more off here, off those highs of the primary target. Now sitting on less on 10% of our position remaining now. Would I like to hold the whole thing? Absolutely, but that's not necessarily the case. We'll leave a little bit as a runner, but AAPL continuing to climb for us. Oh my days. Yeah, my Atlanta. This would have been an absolute monster if we had more of the position. I don't know why I took half off right there. Just had some more conviction within the trade, but then the reason why I guess, so anyways, I'm not trying to be the justifier or anything along those lines. Oh yeah, I called you the justifier the other day, didn't I?
I think it was last week, but yeah.
Anyway, so what it is, I took 20% off right here, an additional 20% off, and then eventually we got stopped out a little bit more break even. But then I took 20% off, 50% off right there, which I shouldn't have done. A little bit of a mistake, especially with some more conviction behind it. Nonetheless, we continue to hold on some. We'd be thankful for what we got and see if we can continue to move forward. Now, these are the only two names that I've traded on the intraday. Or actually, no, I've traded Webull. We took some losses on Webull this morning, but IBIT worked out really well for us. Let's talk about this one a little bit. We never reloaded all the way up here, but that's okay. Let's zoom in here a little bit and see if we can get into a little bit more detail. No volume here on this breakout. So, I mean, at the end of the day, Apple definitely being our better trader, and that's okay. So we'll be patient. I don't know if there's going to be an ad opportunity or not. I don't think there's necessarily going to be, considering the market has no idea what it's doing. So USO to the top side, putting in a new high of the day. I'd said every 5 minutes or so, you're going to see a new high of the day on USO as it's continuing to climb. Now you're only a couple percentage points, 143 to 126, 12% off of its previous all-time high. Okay, so keep an eye out on that. Nice rebound print, and then consecutive green days, 3 in a row here on USO. Aside from this gap down, we're not going to count that, but it rebounds nicely, and then sure enough, you're climbing right back up to 126. And again, I don't love the NASDAQ when USO is continuing to climb. It's more or less the inverse correlated trade, and I think that's been the narrative. These pullbacks are just breaths, in my opinion. Channel to fully to the downside if you can fade the pop, and that's what you're looking to do. I think that's going to be the narrative on today's session, is especially with USO continuing to climb. SPY is the exact same thing. Silver, I haven't even looked at. The VIX is up though here today, up to 1998, so almost $20 a touch, a little bit higher than that 2010 on that chart. So silver, nice bounce off of the low. Okay, Gorev, maybe we find some of a rebound here in SLV. Same thing with gold. Not too much going on. The whole market, especially tech, relatively weak here on today. USO, extremely strong. I'm not a fan of this inverse correlation trade.
Okay. Okay, I got a bunch of different ones to cover. We'll cover them when we get back from Madeira.
Keep an eye here on some of these psychedelic names. Here's DFTX, formerly known as MindMed. We also have ATAI on watch. These companies pushing higher after the Health and Human Services Department, or HHS, announced there's going to be introductory research teams here for a $139 million initiative to transform behavioral health and bring precise, effective treatments to Americans. Now, we know we had this executive order signing for psychedelic treatments. Looks like the U.S. government trying to further push for psychedelic treatments. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Just typing in the chat. All right, a bunch of new ones that I want to cover before we start the news. Sia's ready to go, but I want to point out, a couple of former convicts over here. BATL breaking out. A good look right now for BATL. Let's see what this one is up. We're up 21 1/3%, 415 high, holding above that 4, and the volume just came in. So you can see the volume bars really picking up at around 1/4 to 12:45-ish. So that's one to focus on. Buru, as we were talking about, also same thing, really picking up the volume midday. This is up 38 2/3. Looks like it has some support at 25, 25.5. It's 27 and change right now, getting extended. And look at these volume bars. These volume bars are really coming in now. So something to look out for there. What happened here on open door? All right, so I got stopped out of open door, so we'll take a bit of an L there. But I was okay with that because we're a small position. But in any event, looking for a possible move back into Buru and then TPET. We talked about this one.
Hold on,
52
sorry
and
to
3/4
interrupt
pennies.
you, Sharif. There might be something going on in the overall market right now. Volatility spike. There's probably some headlines stepping in. Aggressive move, but things started to fluctuate quite a bit there.
Yeah, we've got Adara. As soon as she sees anything, she'll bring it to us. So good call out there, Joey. VELO also coming back into VWAP, something to look out for there. And I was talking to Darth Trader in the chat. He's like, look, man, there's a lot of people buying, stepping in from it accelerating down. I couldn't agree more, Darth Trader, on that one. It seems like, they're going to have to really pack your patience in with this one. It's not going to give you one of those big volume bar drops. It looks like it's going to be a stair step down. If anything, I'm talking about the short on NVTS. We'll have to see if that manifests or what. We're going to keep a close eye on all these names while we're doing the news. Sia, what are we starting with?
We're starting off with Apple. So Apple CEO Tim Cook will be stepping down and passing the reins to the 25-year Apple veteran, not the 25-year-old, but he's been a veteran in Apple for 25 years, John Turner. So he is the Apple Senior VP of Hardware Engineering. Starting 1st of September this year, he'll be taking over. Now, Tim Cook has led the company for over 15 years and overseen Apple's path to a $3 trillion valuation, but it will now be transitioning into an advisory role. So who is John Ternus? John Ternus is Apple's, as I said, Senior Vice President of Hardware Engineering, but he's been with the company for over 25 years. He began his journey as a product design team in Apple after just graduating from University of Pennsylvania. Now, one of the main challenges that Apple is facing is being in competition with its AI, with its competitors. So in the AI world right now, John Ternus would be a big addition and a big positive change in the company. Why? Because he's a big believer in AI. And he has repeatedly said that AI should serve as an enabler for making amazing products. This is as per reports from Reuters. And Ternus has probably widely been credited with the successful transition to Apple's M series chips and also the recent overhaul of the iPad and the Mac. And another leadership change in the company will be taking place soon. Arthur Levinson, who has been Apple's non-executive chairman for the past 15 years, will be becoming its lead independent director on the 1st of September. And currently, Apple is trading in the red, down 2.5%.
So we've got USO pushing higher here, market pushing lower. No obvious headline. There is one headline, though, that actually came out, I think, a couple minutes before the drop, but I think maybe worth mentioning, just suggesting that we're continuing to get this uncertainty as to how negotiations are going to go in the Middle East. Qatari foreign minister reportedly saying that it's, quote, premature to discuss the failure of current negotiations. I mentioned we had this headline before that drop in the market or the spike in oil, so if there is anything else, I'll let you know, but I'm really not seeing anything. This is the only thing I'm seeing that I think might be worth bringing up here, guys. Back to you.
Thank you for that. Look, a couple of thoughts here. You never really know how a CEO transition is going to go, but he's a company insider. He's been there for basically half his life, since 2001, so right at the turn of the century, essentially. He's also very much a products guy. He's an engineer by profession. He's had his hand in almost every Apple cookie jar there is in terms of products. My understanding is he doesn't have really much to do with services, but when it actually comes to physical products, he was involved in AirPods, the iPhone, the iMac, the MacBook, the Apple Watch, all of those, not his babies, but he's certainly involved in all of them. Now, the issue is, to me, and I think maybe this is why we're selling off quite aggressively, is I think Apple is navigating a very interesting time in its future at the moment, or in its current state at the moment. And what by that I mean, we're basically shifting from relying almost entirely on production being in Asia and coming to North America. And I think even if the government changes in the United States and say like the Democrats take whatever, the legislative bodies or take the executive, I don't think there's gonna be a push away from nearshoring, onshoring, and friendshoring and all the different shorings you wanna talk about. I think that that policy generally is here to stay, maybe a bit more nuanced with the other side, but it's here to stay. If that's my bias and if that's my thesis going forward, then Apple has some huge technical challenges in terms of sourcing and logistics. And I think that that's where Tim Cook shined. He was really, Warren Buffett credited the products to Steve Jobs, but said nobody could grow and operate Apple in the way that Tim Cook did. So I think we lose something a little bit in terms of operational know-how and operational skills when John comes in. Now, to be fair, we haven't really seen him at the helm to see exactly what he's capable of doing. So I'm willing to give him a little bit of time to be able to find that out. Now, what I do like as well is this Johnny Suji guy. This Johnny Suji guy, he's taking Ternus' spot as the lead hardware, the lead products guy. So this Suji guy, this is the dude who was basically behind the M series chips and the A series chips. So the A series chips are the ones we use on the mobile. The M's are on basically
on the laptop.
On the laptops, exactly, and some of the MacBooks now. And I think a lot of the success that Apple's had in terms of, device usability and how good the devices are is their push into custom silicon, right? So I do like the fact that this Suji guy is coming in with know-how. And on top of that, like I was saying to Brendo this morning, Apple's bet on AI has focused a lot less on cloud than some of their competitors, and at least their original bet, maybe it changes under Ternus, but their bet was on device inference. So again, you and I were talking about inference yesterday. I got more to say on that, by the way.
Okay.
If you actually believe that they continue with that, then I think that these are the guys that you want at the helm because on-device inference has everything to do with the processor that you're using on device.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm caught a little bit between two minds.
Okay.
Right? You see what I'm saying with this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So some good and some bad.
Yeah. I like the political aspect there with in regards to Cook. Now, my question to you being is, do you think that this kind of regime change is essentially coming at the front of maybe a lack of CapEx spend, the ball drop in Apple Intelligence?
Definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Okay, so, and that's essentially what I'm getting at. Yeah. And then also having to essentially bring in Google to really be integrated into Siri.
It's an embarrassment.
Right? But that's what I was saying to you before. So I think like, hey, the issue of doing things in-house, I think was at the helm of why they're starting to see this change. And I talked about Cook being a peacetime CEO compared to a wartime CEO. And essentially I think that's the narrative of why they're getting this switch is because we talked about NVDA being at the front, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, everyone above and below from a market cap standpoint, NVDA being the only one above, but we didn't see that capital expenditure coming from Apple and that real heavy push, and when they did, they dropped the ball on the release of Apple Intelligence, so I'm curious if that has anything to do with it.
Let's comment on that because there is breaking news right now.
Okay.
So an official response here, it looks like, or at least being reported by the New York Times when it comes to whether or not we're going to get this Iran-U.S. meeting. New York Times reporting that the U.S.-Iran diplomatic process has been paused because Iran has yet to respond. So J.D. Vance's trip to Pakistan, which again the vice president was going to be serving as part of the negotiation team for the U.S., it's not been canceled, but it's just been on hold. So again, we're not going to get negotiations right now. Iran apparently just never responded to the U.S.'s comments here. They were supposed to take place, again, these comments on Wednesday, but that has yet to happen as of right now, currently postponed, even as the U.S.-Iran ceasefire apparently is going to be expiring 4:50 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday, according to the New York Post. We know it was going to expire on Wednesday. I don't believe we had an exact date. So time. So as I get more details, I'll let you know. But either way, it looks like ceasefire talks very much up in air.
Yes, thank you very much. Repeat your question again.
I don't know. It was just more or less
about the AI aspect.
So the fact that they weren't able to do this in-house and then they have to pay Google a bunch of money to implement into Siri.
Yeah, I do think it has something to do with it. I think perhaps as well it had something to do with the timing because as I mentioned, a lot of analysts were coming out, Danny Ives included, saying, yeah, we knew Turnus was coming. He was the guy that we all earmarked.
But not this quick.
Not this quick.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people were thinking that Cook was going to stay on for another year and change, whatever it was going to be. We'll have to wait. We're all speculating.
And I mean,
here, right?
not to discredit Cook at all. Like, this guy did a fantastic job. I just think the industry has changed, right?
Exactly,
it's changed, right?
Yeah.
So,
and as I said this morning on the morning rundown, I think every company goes through different phases.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And this phase now, you need a products guy because the iPhone is turning 20 next year, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe that it's been 20 years since iPhone originally came out. And so I'm not saying that there has to be that next form factor, but who better to have than a products guy to be able to develop that next form factor?
To take that next step in hardware, because like, hey man, we get it, the chip gets a little bit better, they design it here and there, but in the grand scheme of things, we're still holding the exact same handheld device essentially at the end of the day. Oh, this guy just keeps... I want to see the
dunking on me.
Yeah, I want to see the next hardware change. Like, I want to see a big-time hardware
But do you think it will be that big-time hardware change, or it'll be like that incremental move? So, for example, we've been talking about possible Apple glasses coming up by the end of the year or next year. Do you think that maybe it homogenizes with the iPhone? Whereas, the cameras and maybe some of the batteries are on the glasses, but then it does a lot of the inferencing on the iPhone vis-a-vis Bluetooth 3.0, whatever the hell it is, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, does it have to be that fundamental leap, or can it be an incremental leap?
It can. Yeah. But don't forget, like, when the iPhone was released, that was fundamental. That was a quantum leap.
Yes.
So to Demon Haunted House, what that next product could be is it going to be specs? I don't know. Is it going to be something that you wear on your wrist? But something to take Apple to that next level. I think if anybody's going to do it, it's them. And I want to see it from a hardware standpoint to the point where it's like, this is the most popular device on the planet, essentially, from a phone standpoint. Can you take it to that next level? Because I wouldn't be surprised. There will be a party. We have Johnny Ives who's teaming up with OpenAI. What if they literally stated the fact that they want to come out with that next hardware device?
Yeah.
Is it going to happen? Is a different story.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions about Altman.
Of course.
Yeah.
But no, but it doesn't defeat the fact that they said, hey, we have a game plan where we're going to bring out that next hardware device that is going to turn everyone's head. And I think that's what Apple needs to do.
You're not wrong. All right. What are we talking about next, Sia?
Talking about Amazon, so AMZN has significantly raised its AI arm race and has agreed to invest another $25 billion into Anthropic. So Anthropic has committed to spending $100 billion over the next decade on AWS infrastructure. Anthropic will be using Amazon's custom-designed AI chips, Trainium and Inferentia, to build its future models. Now, by locking Anthropic into a $100 billion AWS spend, Amazon is securing its cloud dominance and proving that the company can compete with industry leaders at a massive scale. Amazon has reportedly also struggled to generate a buzz for its own AI model, Nova, and this move can definitely help the company get that race going on as well. Currently, Amazon in the green, up by a little over 1%.
There's no circularity at all in this deal. I don't want you to get that wrong idea, Joey, but here's $25 billion. I know that's not how they're doing it. It's going to be $5 billion first, and then the rest of the 20 is going to be milestone-based. But here's $25 billion.
Thank you.
Okay, hold on to those.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to buy $100 billion of compute off me?
Here you go, Brett.
Thank you, Joey. All right, I got my money back. No, but seriously, though.
That's what's going on.
This is Anthropic's problem, is that they only have the compute that the hyperscalers can give them. They don't have their own data centers. That's unlike OpenAI. That's unlike Gemini. I don't know who Perplexity borrows off. I don't think that they have their own data centers, but Perplexity is not that big anyway. And so this is the concern, right? Is that you are subject to the whim of the hyperscalers that can give you that compute. Now, we did a little bit of research. About 55 to 60% of the compute used by Anthropic, you guessed it, goes to AWS. About 30%, 25 to 30, goes to Google Cloud, and about 5 to 10 goes to Azure. So obviously, they're doing business with their biggest supplier vis-a-vis AWS. It makes sense that they're going to invest in them. The question for me, though, is AWS going to be able to scale fast enough and aggressively enough to meet the demands of Anthropic's needs? You know what I mean?
I think so.
You think AWS
but
can
obviously
get?
they're going to have to go into they have the cash, but the CapEx spend, you'll probably see a little bit of an increase, right, regarding the deal and everything along those lines.
Right.
We've seen the same narrative between NVDA and CoreWeave as well.
Exactly.
Too. So,
exactly.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think they're not Oracle if they're having a certain amount, 90% of their performance obligations to OpenAI. Right, so
yes.
I mean, but AWS I think is a little bit more of a powerhouse than what we're seeing.
Well, they are, man. I mean, I'm not disrespecting AWS. That's not what I'm trying to do, guys. Battle is going. We're in battle here at 18. It's just got to 30. There goes BATL. It's obviously moving with USO. I'm so sorry. What's his name? Adam James LeBron. I have to read this, even though I know you're dunking on me. That's fine. USO even slicker than Nico O'Reilly. Of course, great right back for Man City. Look, Nico O'Reilly, you guys are lucky you had him. Wasn't he injured before that? But in any event, guys, there goes BATL. BATL is breaking out here, guys. This is a big move on Battle. 18's on. We just took out 39. Big move up here, up 30%, obviously moving with USO. There's more breaking news coming out, Saudi cabinet, this and that. So there's a lot of oil stuff happening in the market right now. It probably behooves you to keep your eye. There it goes again, Joey, into another high a day, 444. This one's on its horse, and it's on the way to the $0.50. We're timing out. We're going to Adara.
There was a comment from Saudi cabinet, it was pretty minor, just about alternative export routes, which have given them stronger abilities to supply global energy. So yeah, just big upping themselves, nothing massive. Again, though, the headline that really started this push up in oil and the move down in the market is the New York Times reporting that it really does seem like here these talks have stalled for the time being. J.D. Vance not headed to Pakistan for these talks with the U.S. and Iran, though he could there at some point. They haven't canceled his trip. He's just been placed on hold. If we get more details, I'll let you know, but that is still the same headline as far as I can tell that is moving this market. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara. All right, Sia, I think we've beat this topic to death. What are we talking about next?
We're talking about UNH, United Health Group's record revenue and the guidance raise. So UNH has reported a dominant start to 2026 by posting the Q1 revenue of 111, great number, 0.7 billion. This is an earnings beat of more than $2 billion over analyst estimates. Adjusted EPS has come in at $7.23, which is shoot past its forecasted rate of $6.60. Now, the company appears to have moved past the operational drawbacks that it had in the previous years, including the Change Healthcare cyber attack recovery back in the year 2024. United Health also has said recently that there are challenges, however, around the Medicare pilot program to cover obesity drugs, which are adding uncertainty over approval or insurers signing up for it. Now, the growth is driven by a double-digit expansion in its Optum Health and Optum Insight segments, which continue to integrate AI-driven patient management tools to lower the costs. You guessed it right. Now, UNH has also raised its full-year guidance 2026 adjusted EPS to a range between $18.25 to $18.50. The company's management has also cited a stable medical cost environment and strong enrollment growth in its commercial and Medicare Advantage programs. But when it comes to AI and Medicare, we have previously talked about how it is shaping and changing the Medicare space, and we will continue to see if that remains consistent now. But UNH climbing in the green, up by 8%.
Yeah, it's a great report, and good for them, obviously getting off some area lows. What I like here is a couple of things. One, their medical benefit ratio came in below expectations, and sequentially, year over year on the quarter, it's down. The lower that Medicare benefit ratio comes in, the better for them. It's basically a gauge of cost control, which leads me to my next point. Cost control seems to be the running theme here for UNH, especially when you look at EPS, really shoring up EPS, 723 versus the 657 expected, and then raising the guide to 825 EPS. That's from 1775. So that's a measure of costs. And apparently, they're starting to employ AI to really help shore up those costs. Now, I didn't hear too much in the way of layoffs from UNH.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody lost their job, or as much as we've seen with some other companies, in terms of AI being employed. But you can definitely have AI increasing human efficiency. I'm just speaking for myself here. I mean, all my different morning routine and the workflow that I do is really dependent now on AI to be able to get it done,
and
right?
especially from an insurance policy, right? Like it's like you submit your claim, you have the feature, have Claude do whatever. Was it UNH or a different company who's like, okay, we have the insurance, then we send you to the doctor, and then we have the doctor that sends you to the pharmacy? Kind of just like that perfect. Perfect client,
baby.
right? The perfect client is essentially what they were calling it. No, but 2% year-over-year revenue growth, up to $111.7 billion, operating earnings at $9 billion, free cash flow operations to $8.9 billion. I mean, this thing was just getting destroyed for so long, where it's down. It was down substantially off of its highs. Here it is. We'll take a look at some of the metrics. It was like gap down, a couple weeks of trading lower, another gap down, and just absolutely just getting pummeled, down still 44%. But technically in a bull market there, Shruv, we were talking about this one here this morning, up 41% off of the lows. UNH, I think at some point would recover, but it was just in one of the stock market's bad books, right? People weren't a fan of the health insurance. You had that issue with the CEO, and people are like down with the insurance companies essentially, and UNH was at the forefront of that.
And then they were, exactly. They took the brunt of that, but yeah, you didn't feel like it was going to be down for too long. I mean, at the end of the day, people do need healthcare, but macro tail. Go ahead.
But remember that spiel that they were going on? What was it that they were saying? They're like, hey, yeah, we're just going to be essentially giving less benefits. We're going to be more straightforward and reduce.
Oh yeah, I remember that. They were just as blatant as they could. I remember that.
They were not going to be covering as many things or something along those lines. I forget exactly what it was, but they just came out and say like, we don't really care, essentially.
Yeah, no, you're right. Here, guys, BATL on the way to the $0.50 here. This is an aggressive move here for BATL. Let's keep an eye on USO. Obviously, a bit of a pullback now off that 127.77 on USO into 126.90. You could see a corresponding pullback on BATL. They're not exactly in sync. It's not like one is a leveraged product of the other, but usually they do march to the beat of the same drum. So keep your eye out on USO before you jump into BATL. Pakistan is in continuous contact with Iran on confirming the delegation. We'll keep you updated with that as soon as we have more information. But I think you're done, UNH, right?
Yeah.
All right, see ya.
Let's talk about GE Aerospace's earnings beat. In its first major report of the year 2026, GE has delivered a massive top and bottom line beat with a revenue of 25% year-over-year growth to $12.4 billion. The company has generated $1.66 billion in free cash flow during the quarter. And the most striking feature of this report, screamed to me, was that the company's remaining performance obligation, the RPO, which reached $211.3 billion. That's a big number. Commercial engines and services revenue has also grown by 20% after airlines are continuing to fly older fleets while also waiting for new deliveries. GE currently in the red, down by 6%.
This more from the defense perspective. I know that obviously they have a huge commercial business, but the defense sector for them particularly strong, especially when you look at that growth year over year, 67% year over year growth in their defense sector, and they've confirmed a multi-year backlog, as Sia was saying, with RPOs. Same thing, remaining performance obligations. They're also guiding towards a higher end of the range of their EPS. Commercial revenue, still the main driver, still bringing in that big top line number, but it's bringing in about 28% of revenue, obviously supported by that Boeing Airbus, as well as the aftermarket deal that they have for services. Margins were slightly pressured due to a mix shift towards new engines. That's lower margins versus services. You make way more on servicing than you actually sell, than you make on selling new engines. Muted despite the beat, reflects elevated expectations. My takeaway here is the fundamentals remain strong, but the narrative is kind of like shifting from like a growth surprise into more like, can they execute, as well as the macro uncertainty. But let me ask you something before you comment on this, man. You know, say the belligerencies in the Middle East wind down. Let's just say in the next week, two. Let's even go farther. Let's say the Ukraine war ends by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay. So then there's no major conflict anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Do you think the tailwind that we have for defense names cools down?
Yeah, I would say it would.
You would, eh?
Yeah, I would say it cools down. But then you also have the other flip side. You have the flip side of the coin. It's like, now, okay, all of these things are over and someone's just ready to go. Do countries start spending more on defense, considering what we've seen from Ukraine and what's going on in the Middle East? So I think there's two sides of things. Out of the gate, yes, but then tensions will start to rise, because they will. It's just the nature of the human beast, unfortunately. Then people start to rearm themselves, and I think that's when you kind of get that cyclical effect of some of these defense names.
So to kind of just so that make sure I understood you correctly, you're saying short-term weakness because of the end of the war, but longer-term tailwind.
Absolutely.
We have an unresolved issue, clearly, with Taiwan. We know what 2027 means to President Xi Jinping and his aspirations to reunite the country.
And think about,
so that's still there.
Exactly.
Right?
Carney increasing military spend
NATO
as well,
in
too.
general,
so so if you have countries increasing military spend, then for sure, I think that's somewhat of a, but short term, no. Like, I mean, we price things in forward looking. It's priced out, sure enough, but then you have Carney and other countries, sovereign nations, all the NATO countries looking to spend more in militaries, within the military. So I think in the long term, unfortunately, that's the case of what it is right there.
All right, guys, continue to watch BATL here. Looking for the $0.5 breach. We're up 30%, give or take. We're a little bit off that high of the day on USO. It's 127.77. We're showing 127.37. So a little bit off. Let's see if BATL can take out that $0.5. It looks like USO is still holding trend, though, Sia.
Let's talk about Raytheon's growth. RTX has reported a Q1 sales of $22.1 billion, which is up 10%. The company's adjusted EPS of $1.78 has grown 21% year over year. This is driven by a massive surge in the defense orders, which are tying to replenishment cycles for the global conflicts. The company has also ended the quarter with a $271 billion backlog, specifically $109 billion in defense orders. Now, RTX has also raised its 2026 sales outlook somewhere between $92.5 billion to $93.5 billion and boosted its EPS guidance. Full year adjusted EPS guidance has also been increased by 10 cents to a range between $6.70 to $6.90. And the Collins Aerospace and Raytheon segments both have seen a double-digit growth, especially as the company is ramping up the production of its air defense systems and next-generation munitions. RTX is read down by almost 3.5%.
Yeah, I mean, look, market's selling the news here. I didn't see a whole lot wrong with this, and I like the tailwind, to be quite honest with you, just because, well, for the reasons that we just spoke about when we were talking about GE. Specifically, though, I do like the fact that they have accelerating demand for their products, as well as accelerating demand not just for new products, but for replenishment of weapons. So systems obviously have been used in the Middle East, both in the Middle East and Europe. Those are going to have to be replenished. We did see an EO from President Trump to kind of put pressure on these defense companies to stop with the share buybacks, to stop with other forms of spending, and to take that capital, that excess capital, or in profit in this case, and reinvest it into what they're saying is capacity expansion, as well as faster turnaround times. And that's what they're saying. Management highlighting capacity expansion and investments are scaling to meet the sustained defense demand. And that's kind of what I wanted to see. You know, look, you and I don't control whether the world's fighting or not, whether there are wars, but we can control what names we get into and what themes we choose to participate in. Never a good feeling to, you know, kind of be in a company that, you know, blows people up. But at the same time, let's just be pragmatic about it, right?
We talk about Palantir every day.
Yeah, exactly. Right? And they do other things, to be fair to them. But yeah.
But they also, they partake in
targeting, automatic targeting, obviously with AI and all that stuff. But the fact of the matter is, Joey, this is going to be a multi-year tailwind, I think. I think the world's turning into more of a multipolar world. Everyone's going to have their own bigger defense spending.
Yeah, and I think that's where it starts off, right? Like we talk about the increase in military spend, and it's going to start off with government contracts, and that's what RTX has, is the ongoing and the continuous contracts to just essentially rearm the United States. So that's where this one stands. And it's going to continue that way, right? Like as long as they continue to send missiles and all of their military personnel and vehicles across the seas or wherever it may be or wherever they feel necessary to do, some of these companies like Raytheon are going to be at the forefront of it and continuously gain these contracts. You're down 12.4% on this name, but I think this is just a temporary pullback, to be honest with you.
And to be honest with you, like you and I were just saying, like the NATO countries in general.
Yeah, exactly.
And they don't all have to buy from the United States, but you have to assume, you know, they probably get some defense spend or defense purchases from the U.S. Raytheon, obviously, American. And the thing that I was going to say is, so Prime Minister Carney, I think he raised defense spending to either 2 or 2.5% of GDP. Fact check me, chat. But point is that 2.5%, I think it's going to move up to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
By 2030 or 2035, something like that. The point meaning that the Western democracies are going to allocate more money to defense spending. If they're going to do that, they got to buy from somewhere. Yeah, right?
Exactly.
And these companies,
and you want to grab some of the best. You want to grab some of the best technology as well, too, right? Like, I mean, what does the U.S. spend on defense every year from a GDP standpoint?
You can find out. I think the Pentagon is like $800 billion to close to $1 trillion, something like that.
But what is that?
Keep going.
GDP?
I'll find out.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So I mean, that's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow, and especially when you see these conflicts around the world. The Ukraine war has been going on for over 4 years now, right? It's been a long conflict. Are these guys going to be exhausted at the end of it? Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I watch a lot of stuff on this Ukraine war and what's going on in the Middle East. It's not going to be the end of it. It's in the human nature, unfortunately, to just continuously battle and fight these wars. So,
Luis saying Spain denied that deal. Only country. Yes, I think Spain is the only NATO country that says, no, we're not going to spend that, whatever, I think 2.5%. I keep forgetting, guys. We can find out. Yeah, they've made the decision not to do that. I do remember Prime Minister Harper, before Prime Minister Trudeau, basically saying the same thing at the time. He's like, I'm not going to spend that. You know, like, it really wasn't required when he was outgoing. This was like the mid-2010s. There wasn't as much tension as there is now. So I think we probably do see that kind of increase in spending. But here's what Gemini said about U.S. defense spending per year. 2024, it was $886 billion. 2025, $919 billion. And I'm assuming 2026 is a projection, $1.011 trillion.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yeah, $1 trillion.
A trillion. So there you go.
And would you say from a percentage, do we know what the percentage is? No.
So what, I think their GDP is like 33 billion, something like that. What
trillion
percentage, trillion, is that of GDP of 2026? Let's find out what percentage that is. But
we got.
It's about 3.3%. So yeah, they're definitely above the 3% cap there.
Okay.
All right. Eddie, Spain said no to a 5% GDP spending. It will do 2.5. Thank you, Eddie. I remember they did say no to something specific. Thank you for ironing that out.
And you said we're going up to 4.5 by.
It looks like it's 5. Sorry, Joey, because people, I think we're moving up to from
5% by 2030. That's a lot.
I don't know if it's 2030, if it's 2035. When do NATO countries have to reach their 5% of GDP spending on defense by? Let's find out. See if it understands what I mean here. 5% 2035.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
I still think that's quite a bit, to be honest, the 5%. But I mean, hey, it needs an update. Have you seen some of our naval bases in there?
Okay, so we're laughing a little bit. But did you see the recruiting in 2025 and 2026 record numbers?
Is it?
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, a lot of
they increased the pay. I think they bumped up pay by 20%.
That's good.
The other thing is they're building new housing for soldiers. I mean, like if you're gonna have a tough life, you're gonna be less inclined to want to join the military. I think we beat this one to death. See ya. What do we got next?
Talking about U.S.-Iran, earlier this morning, if you did ask me, Sia, is this an optimism headline? I would have probably said yes. But markets have been experiencing a relief rally as the Indian and Asian indices are surging on hopes of a near-term de-escalation between U.S. and Iran. But I do not think this would be possible in the short term. But talking about earlier this morning, I was getting ready for work. Bloomberg in the background that they were talking about U.S. President Donald Trump that he will be threatening further strikes after the ceasefire is set to expire tomorrow. But Pakistani Information Minister Atullah Tarar also some time ago stated via X that Pakistan has made sincere efforts to convince Iran after the country has abstained from confirming its presence for further peace talks. But as we know it, J.D. Vance himself is still in Washington and his visit has been delayed until further notice. It's also a reason because a White House official came in and said that additional policy meetings are taking place at the White House today where the VP will be attending. This is as per a report from a reporter in Axios. But let's just take a look at oil. Taking a look at it, USO currently trading around the 125 region. It's positive by 4%.
USO just dropped aggressively, guys. Big price spike down here on USO. It could just be regular price action, but that is a bit of a drop there in about 125.60. It's a 127.77 high, so about a $2 drop. That flattens me out of my BATL trade, so we'll take the remaining amount there. Watch out for 420 loss, though, on BATL. That's an obvious area of resistance that we couldn't clear. If it loses that level in conjunction with how USO is trading, we could be headed south, but we'll have to wait and see. We're going to Adair.
Just an update here on the situation in the Middle East. We're getting comments from Salam of Lebanon. So Prime Minister Nawaf Salam of Lebanon saying that heading to Washington with a clear goal, which is a full withdrawal of Israeli forces from Lebanon. So again, looks like there's going to be some Lebanese interest here coming into the U.S. to talk with Israel to try to get this withdrawal of forces from Lebanon. If I get more details, I'll keep you posted. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adair. Yeah, so look, as Sia was mentioning, if the ceasefire doesn't hold, President Trump has made it quite clear he's going after their bridges, he's going after their power plants. That obviously, escalates the situation much worse, escalates it a lot more aggressively, and also makes rebuilding the country after this belligerency kind of a lot harder, as they'll have to rebuild that whole thing. This is kind of the concern that I have, man, and I'm going to keep saying the same thing. I don't know who they're negotiating with over there, and I don't even know if the negotiating parties are in agreement. because we keep hearing about military hardliners being the reason or being the source of the attacks. It's not the technocrats, it's not the outgoing politicians, it's the military leaders acting sort of on their own. Yeah. And so, I mean, whether you believe that or not, I think reasonable people can disagree. But this was always my concern, that the negotiations would not be with a party who was unified, who was in agreement, and then there would be kind of a multipolar negotiations. All right, Adara, what's up?
Looks like we actually have the reason now, the headline for this drop in USO and this pop in the market. I'm now seeing reports from CNN saying that Vice President J.D. Vance of the United States will be departing for Islamabad on Wednesday morning. Now, we know that this delay here in terms of when he was going to go to Pakistan caused a lot of furor and confusion. We had reports like half an hour ago saying that talks with the U.S. and Iran were paused. Now it looks like they could potentially be back on as J.D. Vance prepares to leave for Pakistan tomorrow morning. Back to you.
Well, hopefully something positive can get achieved with that. Joey, what's your take here, brother?
On this whole situation?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's changing by the minute.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that's slightly frustrating, right? It's just a ping pong match, a tennis match, essentially back and forth. Until something is done, a hard paper deal is written out and it's signed by both parties, I'm going to expect the exact same thing. Iran said this. No, the U.S. said that. No, we're saying this. No, they said that. It's going to go back and forth until something is finalized, and that's what I'm being patient and waiting for. It's a headline-sensitive market, so whatever steps in, it's just like, all right, yeah, we'll go with that for now. Oh, okay, no, we're going to reverse back on that. No, they didn't do that, or they didn't say that. Oh, no, this didn't happen. This bomb wasn't dropped, so on and so on. Once that deal is finalized, then that's when I'm going to take it different now.
I agree.
It's the same thing. It's like, even though it's not at the extreme, it's like NVDA with the H20 chips. Oh, China, they're receiving. Oh, no, we're not receiving.
Yeah, you remember that?
We're not sending it. Okay, we're getting it. They've applied for the permits.
Then they end up in a data center in Mongolia, Joey.
Exactly. So now they're over in SMCI sending them to other people. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like this ongoing back and forth.
Feel that.
And I think that's essentially what it's going to be. It can get boring for
guys. BATL is bleeding its own blood here. It's about to lose $4 as the USO is dropping here, about to lose 125. Keep your eye on oil. Some positive, let's just be honest about that, like the fact that he's heading over there. J.D. Vance, that is positive, being interpreted positively by the market here, which means downtrend for oil. Watch out for that. See ya.
Has posted a Q1 revenue of $9.88 billion. That is a 4.4% growth year over year. This beat is largely attributed to the consistent ramp up of the B-21 radar program and the Sentinel ICBM modernization project. The company has also reaffirmed its full year revenue target of $43.75 billion. So sorry, 43.75 billion, but the company is facing high R&D costs for its space and aeronautics segments. But NOC, as I'm seeing right now on my screen, is bleeding in the negative by a little over 6%.
Yes, and I'm very happy to have chosen this one as my, what do we call it? Are you calling them Jimmy Carter picks this year? No, we're calling them yearly picks, right?
Well, I mean, we can call them Jimmy Carter picks.
Well, yeah, that was last year, though. This is the B-21 Raider. See ya? You were just talking about it right there. That is the stealth. That's supposed to replace the B-2 bomber. Kind of the same look.
It doesn't look scary at all.
Well, wait till they paint it black, then you'll be much more scared of it.
It looks like something out of Star Wars.
But it's real.
It's not real enough.
That is the B-21, guys, Raider program, and the Sentinel ICBM intercontinental ballistic missile, obviously looking at upgrading those. The operational focus for the company, though, they did reaffirm their full year guide. They want to bring in about $43.75 billion. But they are facing high R&D costs, and that's what President Trump has pressured them to look at now. So no longer can you, do these share buybacks, et cetera, and, pay out dividends. You're going to have to take that surplus profit, that is, and then reinvest it into these kind of things. Maybe I can find a more dangerous looking one. Let's find out here, Joey. Maybe we can see a black one. Oh, they're all gray, bro.
That is pretty scary, man.
No, hold on. This compares the B2 to the B1. So you can kind of see the B2's a little bit bigger. But same kind of shape, though, eh? Like they're going with that flying wing.
The additional V at the back end.
Yeah, there's two exhausts.
Yeah, exactly.
But now there's two engines on this. You can see exhaust here, exhaust there. whereas there's two exhausts kind of. This is a 1980s design though, bro. This thing was designed in the 80s.
I like that.
This one?
Front windshield more. Like, look at it, it's just one piece.
Yeah, it looks more
right?
menacing.
It looks harder, right?
There you go. Okay. So that's what it is, guys. That's what we're talking about there. Let's go on to the. You have any comments on Northrop? Sorry.
I mean, listen, I'm just going over the report. Net earnings are $875 million, up 82% year over year. What else do we got? We have Northrop generated $42 billion in sales, 2% year over year. 29 full year EPS was around 29.08, so the uptick in guidance, it's pretty strong here. I mean, at the end of the day, it's obviously in regards to the conflict, probably most likely that we're experiencing.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at 3M's earnings. 3M, MMM has delivered a mixed Q1 2026 performance. Now the company has reported an adjusted EPS of $2.14 over the $2 estimate, which has been beat. However, the revenue has come in at $6 billion, missing the forecast of $6.07 billion. Management has reaffirmed its full year 2026 guidance, targeting adjusted EPS of $8.50, between $8.50 to $8.70. MMM sinking in the negatives almost by 2%.
Growth is being blamed here by analysts as some of the reason that we're selling off. Soft sales, 1.3% year-over-year increase on the organic part. And the reason I use organic is the company can grow multiple ways. Acquisition, obviously, being the other one, which is inorganic. Stock reaction obviously dropping here, reflecting concerns about the sustainability of growth. The key overhang from my understanding of the report is oil-linked input costs. So many different plastics, obviously, so many different products are linked to oil, as well as Middle Eastern tensions, which even, kind of exacerbate the situation because you can't even get your hand on the product. Margin pressure, risk for industrial inputs, that's kind of my understanding here. But look, they're trading the valuation for the category, trading at 18 times forward. So it's not even cheap at these levels. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Not a company I follow too closely. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I was just looking at some of the numbers. You're talking about organic sales and organic growth. Shreve, we have Q1 at $6 billion, 1.2%, sales up 1.3%. I think what really stood out to me is GAAP operating margins up 2.3%, so 230 basis points, and adjusted operating margins up 30 basis points, so 1/3% there in 3M.
All right, see ya.
We're talking about our final story. KO, Coca-Cola, and Walmart, the Dividend King rotation. So now investors are rotating into Dividend Kings like Coca-Cola and Walmart. In the midst of this market, KO is offering a 2.7% yield, while WMT benefiting from resilient groceries and pharmacy sectors in its growing Walmart Connect advertising platform. Whilst on the other hand, MACD is also offering a 2.42% yield, and ADP, automatic data processing, also offering a 3.36% yield.
KO or WMT? I know for a fact what you're gonna say.
Bro, what kind of question is that?
Just go answer it, man. But I know
from a dividend standpoint, or
just
from
everything, umbrella and everything.
From owning the stock, brother.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Of course,
man.
it's WMT.
Yeah, all day.
You're liking obviously the retail side of it. It's a monster, right? And now they're doing
absolutely.
Now they're doing third-party retailers. So you know how like most of the sellers on Amazon are actually not Amazon, they're third-party.
Yeah. The
Walmart's opened that up, so that's gonna boom for them. That's a huge margin expander. Number two, they've got like the same-day delivery now.
Yep.
So it's like you have to pay per month. So you pay like Amazon Prime,
and then you get
fee. Exactly.
Yep.
So that's a very, very good kind of sticky income.
Sam's Club.
Sam's Club. Go on. Yeah. And then what else, man? They've got an advertising game now. They're advertising big on their Walmart, whatever marketplace or whatever the hell they're calling it. So now all of a sudden they're a big player in the ad game. And can I say something else? Right. If they're gonna follow Amazon's stencil when it comes to ads, Amazon's now number 3, bro, behind Meta and Google in ad sales. Who knew?
Will Walmart have that power though? I don't know.
They got money, man.
They have the cash,
money,
right? They've been there for quite some time, but I just don't think that their presence from an e-commerce standpoint and from a digital standpoint is as to what the other 3 are.
Well, yeah.
Can they get there? I don't know. Maybe, possibly. Think about it. They have the brick and mortar. They have everything, and you also have Uber Eats being implemented in that too. So you're getting the delivery aspect of groceries.
Excellent point.
Of groceries to individuals with
I walk in here in the morning, and you know how many bikes, like those little electric mopeds, I see parked outside the Raba? And you know what they're doing? They're picking up orders for people at 6:30 in the morning. That's the kind of delivery system we have here. I'm just venting to Randy.
Yeah.
But the point is, if Walmart, doesn't even expand their delivery in this country, their delivery services are more than willing to fill that void. Like I just was mentioning there, I keep seeing them every morning.
Walmart should buy Snap. Jay Dizzle made me laugh. No, dude, listen, I love that people. I love the workers on the mopeds.
I like that one. Walmart should buy Snap.
I love it.
They're everywhere.
How do you like it or no?
Swarm delivery system.
I love it. Right? Like I personally love it. I think it adds flavor to the city. Yeah.
What?
Like yeah, I
to
love,
buy anything anytime.
I love it, dude.
Yes.
I love it, man.
It's such a convenience factor,
it
especially
is.
on days where you don't want to leave your place, right? Whether the weather is crap or you're having a bad day,
Yeah.
you don't want to see anybody, so you don't kill them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Randy's just like,
I don't know if
yeah.
I don't know if Randy's ever had those days, but no,
He's coming in hot.
I love it. I love the culture. I love it. It just adds flavor. And then in the summertime, it's even more boom, man. It's like one of those hectic cities, and these guys are just ripping.
This guy
everywhere.
loves the sidewalk, people.
I was
man.
thinking about getting one just so I could ride around with them.
will
You know what I
say
mean?
That, actually, my daughter works for Walmart, and we get our groceries delivered from Walmart. And the service is usually same day, any hour of the day or night. Yes, they need to improve their e-commerce a lot.
Really, eh?
Yeah.
That's the observation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
here in Canada. The Canucks site is not quite the same as the U.S. site,
Fair.
but is there room for improvement? Yes.
Yeah.
Their service is excellent. I live in the sticks. We don't have all the e-scooters and delivery services they do down
fine.
here, but it's growing.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's
I like their product lineup too.
yes,
They have everything under the sun.
everything.
Everything, man.
And moreover, do you know how many more people making over $100,000 are shopping at Walmart than ever before?
Because they're smart.
It's like taking up a great deal.
Hey, when you're expendable,
Wow, that's
Hi, Ram
wild.
Ram.
Yeah,
Ow.
that's insane.
He just comes in and dunks on
Ow.
everybody, then
Yeah,
leaves,
like,
bro. I love it.
Jesus.
And let me add to Sharif's point there is that Walmart has everything under the sun, and it's significantly cheaper than shopping at that BS of a store, Loblaws. Am I not right?
Ow.
Like you have Joe Fresh.
Came in hard there, huh?
No, but it's too expensive.
Well, Loblaws is
Yeah,
expensive.
it's
That's a
too
fact.
expensive.
Sucks,
Ding.
I agree.
Yeah,
See, I get it.
you know, it
Holy
sucks.
I'm just
smokes.
saying, like, as someone who has just graduated from university, I need to save my finances for the right places.
Respectable.
Buying $300 worth of groceries for a
No,
month
yeah,
is
yeah.
not worth it.
Yeah,
one
It's
bag.
crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like one bag,
I
yeah,
watch
depending on the
people
meat.
with a full cart, like at Loblaws, like you go there to grab the odd thing, right? Like if you need to run into a store, you go there. But you look at people with this full cart of things at Loblaws.
That's a few $100s.
It's
It's a mortgage
$300 to
payment.
$400
Easily.
easily. And,
So
and
when
half
all-
of it's garbage.
When a lot of our disposable income has disappeared in fuel costs lately, if you're not driving an EV, and groceries, you need to have them, and housing. Yeah, I mean, Walmart's the way to go, honestly. And it's still nothing like strolling through a Walmart on a Sunday morning.
No, that's nice. I do like that.
Wandering,
Yeah.
aimlessly
my old man
wandering.
a lot,
Yeah,
yeah.
and just
Yeah.
so the brick and mortar part of it is still acceptable, enjoyable.
Yeah,
you know?
you get
and they
people
have
out
that
of the
presence
house.
that Amazon does not. So it's nice to just wander. You know?
Absolutely. You
So-
never know what you're going to buy.
Oh,
Especially
that's-
if you,
that's like-
if
it's
you
like going to Costco,
walk the
same
aisles.
thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're probably not going to do that kind of buying online.
No, you can
Where
with a
it's
whole
like-
lot more stuff than you expected to.
I totally agree.
And
with
that,
that.
that works in
I
their
totally
favor.
agree with that.
Why Ramin write 5-finger discount?
All right, calm down, Ram Ram. You can't be implicating yourself like that. We know that's how you roll, Ram Ram.
This person's
5
insane.
discount. All right, guys, that concludes the news segment. Thank you, Sia. All right, let's do a little bit of a trade review here. Let's see what we're up to. Look, BATL bouncing right off the volume weighted average price. It's like this thing almost was destined to go back to that 4. It holds up 4, puts in a couple of candles, put higher lows and higher highs, and here is this candle up into 417, but very much this one is dependent on the price of oil, so you're going to have to keep one eye on BATL and then the other one on USO, and don't become I'm just going to shut up. BURU came back down into that 25 penny area, holding that general 25 penny area with really nothing to show for it for the past, I want to say, almost hour now since that 105 5-minute candle ended up losing trend. FFAI also holding up at around the volume weighted average price. This one I earmarked for support at 48 pennies. It didn't quite end up working that way. It looked like VWAP featured a lot more here at around 45.5 pennies. And then there are a bunch of topping tail candles into 49, all of which failed to breach. TPET, another one that I had my eye on. I didn't execute on TPET today, but not a good move nonetheless. I was looking for around 53 to 52.5 pennies. Those are the levels where that I was looking at. VWAP being 53 and 52.5 pennies being that 11:30 breakout. Hasn't quite made its way down there. It looks like it's finding some support at around 54 to 55 pennies. Those are the trades that I want to mention. VELO as well, right into VWAP, but this one has basically done nothing. I was looking at this as a short, and it didn't really set up for the short. So holding at around 14 2/3, 14 3/4. Let's see how Velo ends up closing the day before we send it back to Joe. Adair has news at the big desk.
Just be aware here, guys. I'm seeing a little bit of a pullback once again in the market. Oil kind of chopping around here. A couple different headlines coming out of the Middle East. Financial Times reporting that Iranian tankers continue to evade the U.S. blockade. And we've got a comment coming from Iran's Deputy Interior Minister saying that, quote, we are prepared for various scenarios. Last but not least, we have, I guess, OFAC data showing that the U.S. is imposing new Iran-related sanctions. So more tensions here with the U.S. and Iran. Unfortunately, we're very used to this headline at this point, but either way here, market chopping around a little bit as we head into the end of the midday session.
Yeah, I mean, the back and forth continues essentially. So, yeah, I mean, there goes USO, right? Like you just tank off of that top, you sell off approximately $3, and then now you're starting to find somewhat of a rebound. Look at the volume really step in here. So if we're going to go with the flow, I think the volume is to the downside, so maybe wait for a curl over. Maybe you see somewhat of a stronger recovery in the market. I'm just looking for that next opportunity. I mean, we only have a couple minutes left here. Neil's stretching, getting ready for game time. That's what we want to see. We talk about this Apple trade essentially off of the lows. Had to be patient for this recovery, and we got in around the right time. Would I have liked it to make it a little bit bigger? Absolutely. Should we have got out break even? I think the narrative would have been a little bit different. But nonetheless, Apple definitely being our better performer here on the session. And I think it's going to remain that way. So I shouldn't say it's going to remain that way. We're one trade away from just turning things around big. IBIT was a good one here. We did get stopped out of a 20%. So it is what it is. Leaving some of that runner, maybe we get out a little bit quicker just in case. So boom, 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 off to the races to go and then to the downside. But where we really lost is that initial trade here on IBIT, a couple hundred shares there, stopped out. And then what else was it? Webull. I didn't even want to get into SMR and it just punched me. But anyways, Webull, definitely our two mistakes here. I mean, there it is, a break-even trade on Webull, but it was more or less this one here, SMR. To the downside. Whoa, watch out, Neil. Anyways, was he stretching and almost got you there?
And he lowered the shoulder, too, like he had the entire move.
Neil, don't forget, brother. You're
people
injured.
don't forget.
Yeah, you're still injured.
These guys are killing me.
Why Ja Rule's voice? Anyways, aside from that, guys, let's see if we can find somewhat a rebound and sustained move. USO is going to be the teller of where some of these tech names go. Okay, so USO. I don't know, Neil.
What happened?
Yeah, I don't know, man. He's just pacing around here, making me nervous.
Neil?
Yeah, he's making me nervous, man.
Careful, man.
Yeah. All right. There we go. USO rebound. Maybe you get that curl over. It's going to take about 15 minutes or so, and then you head back towards the volume-weighted average price. NVDA could be a potential good long opportunity right here. I'm liking the way we look. NVDL might be our vehicle, Shreep. All right.
Yeah, take off, Joey.
I'm going to go over there. You guys will see me momentarily. I hope everyone's had a fantastic midday, enjoyed your lunch, and put on some good trades.
Hey, you saw it. All right. Thank you, Joey, for coming on. All right. Here we go. Let's look at the market. Let's just do a quick market review here, see what's strong, see what's weak in the market. As I saw some people in the chat mentioning right now, the metals are super weak. Gold is down 2 1/5. Silver down 3 1/4, losing 3 3/4, losing $70. Pardon me. USO still holding up above that 125 mark and still up 3% on the day. When we move down to the Mag 7 here, Uber is literally flat on the day. Netflix, another bad day for them, 1 4/5. In fact, a little bit more, down almost 2%. Meta up about 1/3 to 1/4%, but it's Microsoft's day today, man. Completely bucking the trend when it comes to the Mag 7, up about 2%, 1.97. Apple absolutely getting clipped. It was basically a sell all day until it found some support at 265.40, down 2.4% on the back of the essentially the CEO switch there. Google also down 1.25%. Both Goog and Google. Amazon really fading the entire move. I mean, this is when Joey messaged me yesterday that Amazon and Anthropic had that tie-up right around 4:30. And quite frankly, since that area high, we've given up about 1.5%. Given that aftermarket move. So Amazon's still positive on the day. Tesla, we get Tesla tomorrow. Tesla's tomorrow. Tesla is tomorrow down 1% today and also below 4%. NVIDIA, much the same fate, down 1.15. You wouldn't know that NVIDIA was red on the day if you take a look at AMD, which is barely off the highs. Is this another all-time high for AMD, man? Well, I think we got into a little bit higher yesterday, Neil, just at around 420. We got to 287.61. We're 284.28 is the high today, but another higher low. You feel like AMD is just setting up for more highs. And then one name that I'm involved in, LITE, getting clipped today to the tune of 5%. We'll have to find out what's going on with that one. Let's move down here, see what else is moving. FCEL, we mentioned this one. Big day today for FCEL, but fading off the highs. Bloom Energy, yet another all-time highs on that. Chinese ADRs, all, without exception, on my watch list, decidedly red. 3 3/4 for Baba, 3% for Baidu, 4 2/3 for PDD, and the list goes on. All the EVs names as well. NIO, XPeng, Li, they're all negative on the day. Crypto as well, just turned negative, but barely. Bitcoin still holding $75,000, right around 75.6 for the coin. Military and defense names, you thought maybe possibly these ones would catch a bit of a bid. Not so. NOC is absolutely breaking down. This could be a buy here, though, on NOC, man. This is the 200 moving average. I'll have to take a look at that one later, but that is one to look out there. Are we ready to go? Ready to go? All right.